But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Tuesday night, and that means it's show night at Troubled Minds. And this is a show where we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about, of course. Those things being aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the 24-hour news cycle, the government, academia. You name it, if we're not supposed to talk about it, well, it's right down our alley. Some of these things may be true, some of these things may not be true, but it almost doesn't matter anymore, does it? In a post-truth world, where the real battle is for the gray matter between your ears, where reality itself has become, what would you say? Reality has become, how about just a horrifying mess? I think that's probably the best way to put it. You look at some of the way the press has done the things they do, the way they twist every single thing that happens. Like I say, the baby in the bathwater has now become the baby in the swimming pool filled with toxic waste. And the baby into that swimming pool is unfortunately the truth. And you can't throw it all out, because I'll tell you what, there is some truth out there, and it's just becoming more difficult to find. That's part of the problem here, and that's really what this show began as a more of an exploration of the way people believe reality and the way people believe in the things they do. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it's something that needs to be talked about, because last I checked, this is still illegal. Illegal. See what I did there? This is still legal as far as I'm aware. It's still legal for us to be wrong and talk about those things, including being religious, right? Among many things that are under attack. It's okay. I'm not even a religious fellow. It just drives me insane that we're trying to The attack from the media is on these sorts of things, these bigger ideas, deep philosophy even. And this is kind of what caused me to really start this show and really to think about it in these terms, because it is a post-truth world. It is a place where my mind is constantly troubled. All you have to do is open up a newspaper or open up a web browser, turn on CNN or Fox News, and just, I'm not telling any of you guys out there anything you don't know. It's just pretty horrifying where everything that is becoming what it is put there by folks that just don't care about us. It just seems that, you look at, for instance, here's one. Just check out the impeachment, right? We have people suffering due to this pandemic, all right? People suffering. Literally, people have not been able to pay the rent, lost their jobs for a year now. We have going on an entire year of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 2 weeks to flatten the curve turned into an entire year of shutting down economies, of ruining small businesses, of putting people out of work, all right? An entire year. And then somehow, some way, the government found a way to jam in, a 5 or a 6 day impeachment or something to this effect. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And I'm sorry, but if you think the government's going to look after you, then you're sadly mistaken. And that's part of the purview of the show and the things that we like to talk about. But let's get to I digress. Let's first things first. We're live tonight. We've always done this show live because transparency is an important thing. And if you want to be part of the show tonight, we are streaming on DLive. We are streaming on Facebook. We are streaming on YouTube. I'll say hi and chat, guys, in a little bit. I got some technical issues going on, but we'll catch up to the chat. I'm not forgetting about you. We'll say hi tonight. But so we're live streaming on those 3 platforms, and we are also broadcasting live on the Fringe FM digital radio station. Fantastic folks. Glad to be here and glad to be a part of this. But if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. We always have an open line for you, several even. And one more time, that's 702-957-1037 if you want to be part of the show. And you could go to troubledminds.org. That's the official website, and click the Discord link. And the Discord is a chat client. It's a voice client. It's what the youngsters are using to play video games. Well, we're using it to do a talk show and to have live call-ins, and it is completely free. And if you don't like the 702 area code, which is from Las Vegas, which is where we're streaming from, you can join the Discord, and it is completely free, and you don't have to worry about any kind of long-distance charges at all. Also, go to the fringe.fm/chat, and please join that Discord as well. I'm watching all the chat, watching as much as I can, and we'll try and incorporate everything we need to as we continue. But okay. There we go. We'll I'll read these some of this phone number stuff as we go and keep you guys abreast of the situation. But troubledminds.org is the official website. You can find the phone number there, and you can find the Discord link. All right, let us get to the subject tonight. Now, I was kind of going through some quotes like I usually do, and reading from very smart people. And this quote in particular is by an individual by the name of Edith Wharton, Wharton, and she was the very first person to win I believe it's a Pulitzer Prize. I'll check that. Like I said, having some technical difficulties here. I'll verify that for you in a sec. But the quote is more important. Here we go. There are 2 ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. Say that one more time, because this is this becomes a little bit sketchy. But on its face, it seems simple enough. There are 2 ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. All right, and I'm going to link this, and you guys can check out the quote. And as always, you know me, I love to be as transparent as possible with the sources where I get these things, and I will share this information in the chat as we go. Every source I bring up and talk about, you can double check me, because I do not have the answers. This is not the answer show. This is the question show, and this is where we start. There are two ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. Now, the thing that's interesting about this, to me, is rumors recently have surfaced of a fifth dimension. An actual fifth dimension. The media has sort of gone off the rails reporting that dark matter itself, that science has been able to manipulate, of course, through the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, a portal into the fifth dimension. And let me ask you this. Once again, there are two ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. Now, with that said, what is inside that mirror? Is it simply a reflection of light, a reflection of what people can see, a reflection of our simple vision as human beings? Or as some have postulated, inside that mirror, is there some sort of alternate dimension? Is the person looking back at you a version of you in the upside down? And of course, when I read these things coming from scientific journals and the rest of these things, it makes me wonder. It makes me scratch my head and ponder the existence of the universe and these sorts of things. But let's take a look at this actual article where this comes from, or at least one of them. Actually, before I get there, what exactly is this fifth dimension? Now, this is from objectivityistheobjective.com. Now, let me read just a little bit of this, because the fifth dimension is not even, at least, scientifically verified, let's say. What's up, Joey? Joey in the chat says doppelganger. There you go. Is the person in the mirror, is that a doppelganger? Is that a let's say a negative version of you or an opposite version of you in that mirror? Or exactly, is it just a trick of light that humans see? Well, the fifth dimension was actually very well described by none other than an individual by the name of Rod Serling of the Twilight Zone, which is fantastic. If some of you guys haven't gone back and watched some of those old Twilight Zone episodes, black and white, so good. There's a lot to see there. There's a lot. Again, some of these themes in this show, The Twilight Zone, they continue to resurface because, well, I guess the fifth dimension is timeless. Here's the quote from Rod Serling. It is another dimension, a dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone. And if you are familiar with the show, you'll know that in the beginning of every Twilight Zone, Rod Serling says that as it begins. And think about that. What happens to our thoughts? Since we can measure in 4 dimensions, right? 3 dimensions, and the 4th dimension being space-time, as we move through our own slice of space-time, or however you want to quantify that. Now, he explains the 5th dimension, and he calls it, aptly, I think, the Twilight Zone. A dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, and a dimension of mind. So it makes me think, and the thoughts in my head, actually, oddly enough, where do they go? Do they exist specifically in my brain, and that is it? I'm lucky enough to be here on a talk show talking to you, so the things that I think I can say and you can hear. But what happens if I never speak these thoughts? Do these thoughts in my head actually solely and only exist in the 4 dimensions that we're aware of? Or is it indeed, very much like Rod Serling said, a dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, and a dimension of mind? Of course, me being who I am and loving to laugh at myself, sometimes I just want to smack my head and go, Mike, you knucklehead. But there do seem to be some bigger implications here. And what happens to those thoughts that we all have? They've been termed, in many cases, the collective subconscious, where we share these thoughts. We're able to communicate with each other through extrasensory perception, so to speak, ESP, and other things. But is it? Do you think these thoughts that go through your head, your ideas, your everything, stops at your flesh, and that's it? The energy that's coursing through your veins and the energy that's firing through your brain? I guess it depends on who you ask is the biggest thing. But let's go to this article here now, and what really spawned my idea for this. And actually, my mother's out there listening. Hello, Mother Strange. My mother sent me this article, and it spawned the idea for this show, because there's a lot of things to think about and a lot of things to talk about. This is from dazeddigital.com. And I'll read just a little bit of this so you can see where we're headed tonight. And of course, as always, I want to know what you think. Do you think that there is a fifth dimension, and it is as Rod Serling says, it is a dimension of mind, a dimension of sight, a dimension of sound? Or do you think there's something else entirely here, like an actual fifth dimension where, I don't know, maybe you would find the ancient ones in the fifth dimension, toying with dark matter, something that we have no idea what it is? What would that be? That would be, who's the ancient ones? The great old ones of Cthulhu fame. Anyway, here we go. DazedDigital.com reports this. Scientists say, I encourage you to check my sources so you can see that some of the things I'm talking about seem to be incredulous, that I'm not making them up. Straight from the article. The sci-fi hypothesis was published in a new study, the European Physical Journal C. It suggests that the particle can provide an explanation for dark matter. This extra particle that can act as a portal to the fifth dimension, rather. And so also provide an explanation for dark matter, which has never been observed directly, but is thought to account for most of the universe's mass. Researchers say particles can travel across the whole universe, including to the fifth dimension. Scientists have been questioning our universe's known four dimensions for years, as I was discussing there. These are, of course, the three space, up, down, left, right, back, and forth, which would be your three dimensions, and of course, time-space. This extensive research would produce 5D equations, which, according to Vice, quote, express the implications an extra dimension would have on the universe and reality itself. Now, is this all scientific mumbo-jumbo? I think there are some other questions you can ask regarding this, as in not just the thoughts we have, right? What about things like, I don't know, the United States government did quite a lot of experimentation on astral travel, remote viewing. Project Stargate, if you don't believe me, go ahead and look that one up. So if those things are even remotely possible, at least possible enough for the government to be interested, and now science is saying through dark matter, there is a particle that can act as a portal to this fifth dimension. Is there some correlation here? Are those thoughts inside your head confined to the lucky mud that you have become? If you think of the world in a cynical aspect, of course. Or maybe it's just your reality. Who am I to tell you? But anyway, all right. So then just a little bit more from this article. Oh, and then also as another point, what happens when we dream? Some people have speculated that there's versions of dreams where we actually cross over into other dimensions. I'm sure many of you have heard of DMT trips, dimethyltryptamine, I believe it's called, where people are supposedly crossed over into a different realm where there are entities that talk to them. So is any of this related? Is there some sort of consciousness, a level of consciousness within us that can actually, possibly, maybe, proceed into this scientific fifth dimension as they describe? I'm not so sure. But I'd love to hear from you. What do you guys think about this? 702-957-1037 if you want to be part of the show. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. You can join the Discord. Troubledminds.org is the official website. You can find the phone number and the Discord link there. And you let me know. Do you think our thoughts extend beyond us? Or do you think they end inside the flesh and blood? And it's as simple as that. Not really sure. Not really sure. Again, this is not the answer show. This is the question show. Here we go. So, this article continues. Read a little bit more of this before we take a break. While researching the 5D equations in relation to fermion particle masses, the scientist sketched out a new scalar a physical quantity that is completely described by its magnitude associated with the fermion, which they claim is similar to the Higgs field and Higgs boson particle. All right, now the Higgs boson, of course, was discovered in 2012, and there's been some conspiracy theory regarding that as well. If you recall, back in 2012, it was called the God particle. And they say that the Higgs field is what turns energy into mass. And that, of course, is still being researched at the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, as it were. And the rest of this, again, I leave up to you. I don't know these answers. And, of course, science is still struggling and working on these things. And there are many things out there that are unclear regarding many things in the world, including what science has to teach us. But that's okay. That's okay. We have our own mind, and we have our own abilities, and we have, again, the right to be wrong. And so whatever this is, just like science can be wrong, where this may be just a new theory, this also might be something very powerful and very relevant to the future of humanity. But of course we won't know, because this is in the fledgling stages. But that's what's on deck tonight. We're wondering if there is a fifth dimension out there. And if there is, as the scientists are speculating, that it's somehow related to this fermion particle and somehow related to dark matter. Do you think it has anything to do with you? Do you think that these things are just navel-gazing exercises? Or if you believe some of the more esoterics out there, do you believe that there's a spiritual being that resides inside you and is able to tap into these frequencies, these dimensions, anything of this sort? What's happening tonight? As always, looking to hear from you about this, being the question show and not the answer show. 702-957-1037. One more time. That's 702-957-1037. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. Hang tight. And we're going to be talking about the fifth dimension tonight. Fermion particles, dark matter, and you. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, DLive. And we're talking about scientists describing a portal to the fifth dimension. Love to hear from you. Your thoughts on this? Real? Fake? Somewhere in between? We're taking all answers. We got a phone call. We're going to jump straight to that. I saw somebody in chat say, oh, look, the government's finally telling the truth. Is that maybe the case? Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's go to Leslie in Michigan, I believe. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Yes, you are correct. Thank you. Oh.
Right on. What is on your mind tonight? What do you think about this fifth dimension stuff? Do you think there's something to this, or do you believe that it's science and clickbait articles trying to pull another fast one on us?
Clickbait.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so how about this then? So you think that the things they're saying seem to be clickbait at this point? Do you believe there is a fifth dimension, and even without them describing this, though?
No, but I do. I am aligned with my higher selves, and they are not of this place, the Matrix.
Okay, so it's like a sort of like the digital world, you say. So do you mean actually digital, or do you mean that there's something else going on other than that?
Holograph.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's holograph. It's holographic because you make matter out of condensed light.
Okay. I hear you. I hear you in the background there. You could, if you turn down your radio, it'll help you a little bit. But okay. So you believe there's something to this, and there is a function of our higher self that can actually go outside of our bodies. Is that what you're saying here? And that it has something to do with I don't know. Help me. Help me here. Looking for an answer.
No. Okay. I meditated and quieted the mind and aligned my feeling with my higher selves. And because I heard the tones from them. And there's just polarities. The highest polarity is love itself, and then the lowest is, of course, hate, right? Opposites. And our higher selves, we are multiple. We are not singularities in consciousness.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I'm following you. Please continue.
Well, you feel them, and it's a telepathic communication. But the tones that they send to us, some people hear them, some people don't. And the recorders don't pick up the sound. It's like through telepathic means that they're sending you the tones. And when I went OBE during that meditation, when I felt as though they would feel.
Okay. It
has nothing to do with the mind. The mind has to be quiet.
Okay, I understand. Can you explain just real fast who they are? Who are we communicating with? Who's trying to communicate with us?
My other selves.
Okay, so
we all have multi-selves.
I see. I understand. So okay, so there is a multi-dimensional universe, then, is what you're saying, like the multiverse and the rest of this, and there are versions of ourselves, maybe like looking in the mirror, like I explained when we started a little bit, right?
Well, not exactly.
Okay, all right. All right, tell you what. Sorry, go ahead.
We are multiple. Like, okay, it's the same personality, but different variations of self. But we have amnesia on ground here. So I had to bust through that amnesia in order to get to them. And when I was in the presence of them during my OBE, I felt them as myself. Weird, huh?
Yeah, so okay, so they are in some capacity an extension of our self here, but they're not us, but they're connected somehow, right? That's what we're saying.
It's a soul group.
Okay, all right, I get it. All right, here's the deal. We only have so much time on the radio here, so if you want to continue that story, can you give us a call back in the third hour? And I'd love to hear more about this.
Okay, sure thing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your participation, and thank you for the call. Thanks, Leslie. That's Leslie from Michigan. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you guys talking about the fifth dimension tonight, scientists. This is from Popular Mechanics. Dark matter could be the result of fermions pushed into a warped fifth dimension. That's the term. Warped fifth dimension. Thank you again, Leslie, for that call. Amazing stuff. Again, a lot of this stuff is over my head, so I'm just a knucklehead talk show host trying to do my thing and make sense of some of these things that are science, so they say, or just like you said, possibly clickbait, or somewhere in between, right? So, like I said, this is not the answer show. This is the question show. And my question for you tonight is this fifth dimension real? Do you think that humans have the capacity to somehow move outside of our physical selves and maybe participate in any way with this fifth dimensional thing, if it's real at all? It's okay if you don't believe any of that, because that's why we're here talking about it. But scientists have said, again, from MSN, and they cite the Popular Mechanics article, while the warped extra dimension, the WED, is a trademark of a popular physics model, which is known as the Standard Model, by the way, first introduced in 1999, this research, published in the European Physical Journal C, is the first to cohesively use the theory to explain the long-lasting dark matter problem within particle physics. Our knowledge of the physical universe relies on the idea of dark matter, which takes up the vast majority of matter in the universe. Dark matter is a kind of pinch hitter that helps scientists explain how gravity works, because a lot of features would dissolve or fall apart without an X factor, or dark matter. Even so, dark matter doesn't disrupt the particles we do see and feel, meaning it must have other special properties as well. So what they're saying is, as many of us know, dark matter itself is undetectable other than its gravity signature. We can't actually see this. We can't actually interact with it. And as a result, we don't even know if this thing is real, if dark matter is actually real or not. And so, of course, here we are, looking at some of these scientific talk of fermions and the fifth dimension and the X factor, which is this dark matter thing that may or may not even exist. But this new theory suggests that maybe dark matter resides in a fifth dimension, and the gravitational mass that we see is somehow poking through. Weird, right? Like I said, I wish I was the answers guy. It'd be a really easy, quick, and short show. We just read the answers, and it would be a wrap. But that's not the way this show works. And as a result of that, the question for you tonight is this. Do you think there are alternate dimensions? I mean, we know the first, the second, the third, the fourth. The next logical would be the fifth. And then, of course, many beyond that. And do you think there's an ability for humans to visit this, or at least interact with it in some way? Love to hear from you tonight, 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037, or you can join the Discord. Troubledminds.org is the official website. Come say hi. Lots of smart conversation going on there 24 hours a day. Come say hi. Come be social. Come meet new people. It's a very, very nice place. It is a very respectful place, even though, like I always like to say, we're non-denominational and as apolitical as possible. So you get to believe whatever you want to believe, because I truly believe we have the right to be wrong. So, and by the way, we have the right to disagree and still be friends, which the media won't tell us, will they? They use the opposite strategy, where if you disagree, you have to hate each other. Boy, what's up? We got some good chat here. Sean says this from Facebook: the fifth dimension is a micro dimension, which is accepted in physics and mathematics. It's here to have a nice and seamless tie between gravity and electromagnetism, or the main fundamental forces, which seem unrelated in the regular four-dimensional space-time. Good thoughts. Good thoughts. Definitely good stuff. Looking for answers here. I don't know. Again, like I said, if I had the answers, it'd be a really short show, wouldn't it? Definitely be a really short show. I think I got a couple clips here. You guys want to know what a fermion is? Yeah. You want to check this out. Stick with me through this. So once again, let me explain this real fast. So they found that through this fermion, they were able to determine through the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, at least they believe so, that they can have a portal to a fifth dimension, and this is somehow related to the dark matter phenomenon that we cannot explain. All right, so here we go. What exactly is a fermion? I got a scientist. Well, some clips from a scientist explaining this. Now, I need you to listen very, very closely, because this stuff is dense. This is a fermion.
In particle physics, there are lots of particle names, mostly ending with the syllable on. Electrons, protons, hadrons, baryons, leptons, mesons, and the list goes, well, on. But two particles have a special meaning, and those are fermions and bosons. Unlike all the other particle names, which are related to particles' electric charge, mass, or the forces they feel, the factor that both ties together and distinguishes fermions and bosons is the idea of subatomic spin. Since the early part of the 20th century, physicists have known that there's a natural unit of spin. This unit is represented by a symbol which is an H with a little slash through the top of it. We call it h bar, but it is more properly called the reduced Planck constant. It has a value of 1.2 times 10 to the minus 34 joule seconds. Now that numerical value isn't something that you have to remember, because we scientists use it as a unit, just like you might use pounds or kilograms. I mean, when you weigh yourself, you probably don't always attach the unit. You don't say, the scale said 150 pounds. You just say, the scale said 150 today. In terms of spin, it's kind of the same way. If a subatomic particle has a spin of 1 unit of h bar, we just say that the particle has a spin of 1. If it has a spin of 4 units of h bar, we say that the particle has a spin of 4. When we talk about fermions and bosons, they represent different classes of particles, and they're distinguished by their spin. Bosons all have a spin that is an integer multiple of h bar. Yes. They have spins of 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. In contrast, fermions all have half integers of spin, specifically a half, 3 halves, 5 halves, etc. So you might wonder if there are other possible values of spin, say a third or a quarter or something like that.
Okay, so now this is actually from Fermilab, the Fermilab YouTube page. And the individual speaking here is Dr. Don Lincoln. And he's explaining what these fermions and bosons are, right? So, of course, like I explained badly, because that's what I do. I explain things badly. Hey, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it out there. But he's explaining exactly what these particles are. And, of course, they know what they are from CERN, the atom smasher that does the particle physics, the Large Hadron Collider. And they've been able to study these things, and this is where this information comes from. So like I said, stick tight. There's just a couple more clips here to explain what these fermions are. And if you're not scientifically inclined, don't worry. We can talk about the woo-woo stuff as well because, well, I don't have any answers either way. I just don't. So again, I'd love to hear from you talking about fermions, talking about dark matter, talking about this supposed scientific portal to the fifth dimension that's been reported all over the media. And that's what we're here talking about tonight. 702-957-1037. Troubledminds.org is the official website. Phone number and the Discord link are there. Part 2, fermions.
The answer seems to be no. We have never observed any particles with any value of spin other than an integer or half integer. Now, you never say never in exploratory physics, and it may be that we'll find some new particle governed by new rules, but we probably won't. The reason I say that is that we can tie the spin to the mathematics that describes the particles. The technical term for the mathematics is called the wave function, but there appears to be just two possible forms. In one case, the equation of the particle seems to be symmetric, which means that if you flip it around the center, it looks just like it did before the flip. In the other case, the equation of the particle is antisymmetric, which means if you flip it around the center, it's the opposite. This has real consequences when you're trying to do calculations, but you'll have to trust me on that one. Bosons, the particles with integer spin, are described by symmetric wave functions, while fermions, their half-integer spin cousins, have antisymmetric wave functions. If fermions and bosons are different kinds of particles, they must have different properties, right? How are they different? Bosons are the puppies of the subatomic world. The more, the merrier. You can have an unlimited number of bosons in the same place at the same time. In contrast, fermions can be thought of as subatomic cats. They're standoffish. Two identical fermions cannot be in the same place at the same time. If you ever took a chemistry class, you probably encountered the Pauli exclusion principle, which explained why atomic orbitals are the way they are. It boiled down to identical electrons cannot exist. And since electrons are examples of fermions, it all hangs together. Okay, right? Anybody out there still awake? Testing. 1, 2. Is anybody still awake? All right. This is an individual by the name of, from Fermilab, Dr. Don Lincoln, describing fermions. I've linked this, and you guys can check this out. You guys can, again, follow up on me. I'm not making this up. I'm not editing these things out of context and trying to do whatever I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of something. And I just don't think it's, I think it's larger than me at this point, but that doesn't matter. Conversations are never larger than me. We just won't worry about finding the answers tonight, and I'm okay with that. Part 3, fermions, from Fermilab of all places. Action. In the particle physics world, all of the particles of matter, the quarks and the leptons, are fermions. In contrast, the particles of force, the force-carrying bosons, are, well, of course, bosons. Quarks and leptons all have a spin of a half. Well, technically, since they can spin clockwise or counterclockwise, they can have a spin of plus a half or minus a half. But that's a minor complication to what I'm talking about here. What's really important to know is that there are no fundamental particles of the standard model with spins of 3 halves, 5 halves, or anything like that. Only a half. On the boson side, there's more diversity. The Higgs boson has a spin of 0. The photon of the electromagnetic force, the gluon of the strong force, and the W and Z bosons of the weak force all have a spin of 1. And the graviton, which is the hypothetical and undiscovered carrier of gravity, must have a spin of 2. So that's about it. You have the gregarious force-carrying bosons and the standoffish matter fermions. They are important because they represent 2 distinct classes of particles in the standard model. They also have an interesting significance in that the fermion and boson roles in the standard model are blurred in some speculative theories that go beyond the standard model. For instance, in a class of theories that include a principle called supersymmetry, all of the known fermions are hypothesized to have new boson cousins that are identical in every way except for spin. Similarly, the known bosons are postulated to have a new cousin fermion. Okay, mercy, right? Mercy. No more Michael Strange. Don't play another clip.
All right, I won't. That was the end of it. Now, look, this is from, I just linked the latest link I dropped in all the chats, guys. This is the actual paper itself. Let me read you the introduction, and then we'll take a break. The question tonight is this. Science says it's discovered a fifth dimension, or at least a portal, a theoretical portal into the fifth dimension using this particular thing called a fermion. Now, check this out. Let's see. Where's the best place to start here? Introduction. Let's start the introduction. Why not? Because if you get too deep into this paper, I'm telling you, if you're super into the science, I highly encourage you to read this paper. All right, now this is what they're talking about. The discovery of the Higgs boson at the Large Hadron Collider represented the last step towards establishing the Standard Model as a solid theory describing the constituents of matter and their interactions down to very short distances. However, there are still some questions which do not have an answer within the Standard Model. One of the most significant examples is the so-called hierarchy problem. The question why the Higgs boson is much lighter than the characteristic scale of gravity. Don't you find it interesting that we still don't know what gravity is? Curiously enough, we got a good enough explanation, but there's still good enough is not good enough when you're talking about like one of the fundamental forces of things in the universe. But anyway, I digress. This article continues, and this is the actual paper. This is the paper, A Warped Scalar Portal to Fermionic Dark Matter. Yep, talking about the fifth dimension here, guys. All right, this continues. One could argue that this problem is merely a byproduct of our theoretical prejudices and that nature did not ask for a dynamical explanation for this difference of scales. Still, even in this case, we know for a fact that the Standard Model cannot accommodate some other observed phenomena. One of the most striking examples is the existence of dark matter. We know that there is no viable dark matter candidate in the Standard Model, so already this fact asks for the presence of new physics. Extensions of the Standard Model with a warped extra dimension, compactified on an orbifold, contain the necessary features for addressing simultaneously both of these issues: the absence of a viable dark matter candidate and the hierarchy problem. All right, I'm going to stop there, only because WTF. What the heck is this all about? Talking about the fifth dimension tonight, guys. Talking about science and how they think they've found a way in. Yeah, that's what's up. Love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. One more time. 702-957-1037. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. We're talking about the fifth dimension. Is this real? Can people interact with this? Or is this just more clickbait perpetrated on us by a dishonest media? Oh boy. Oh boy. I tell you what. It's fun to think about it anyway. Hang tight. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. We'll be right back.
This is Kaz from Canada. How you doing, Mike? I'm doing well. I had, I just want to, if I may, I'd like to answer your question about the fifth dimension and then a couple other quick points which are connected, if I may. So I believe that there is a fifth dimension. I also believe there may be additional dimensions. The number, I don't know. And kind of like how the divine, I think collectively, all the souls on this planet, we've passed the tipping point. And the divine feminine, the divine masculine, at the start of the age of Aquarius, we're moving towards a matriarchal society. That being said, I also think we're all moving towards a fifth dimension.
Okay, and so it definitely does exist. And so, what about this other stuff with the dark matter? Did you get a chance to look into any of this stuff tonight, or are you just this is just whatever? This is noise and clickbait. What do you think about this?
No, I can't. I believe that dark matter does exist, but you know what? When you look back at mankind's discovering over the millennia, we always seem to be a little bit behind the eight ball with the reality of the situation. Like, how long do we think, on a planet that this was flat and way back, and then it evolved. All the planets revolved around the Earth, and we discovered no, that's not the case. So I think in near time, I think a lot of these answers are going to be given to us. But yeah, I believe there's dark matter. I can't say talk about it that much.
Okay, yeah, there's definitely a lot to it. It's super complicated stuff. We're talking about CERN and the Large Hadron Collider and a bunch of this. Now, okay, so do you believe that then there's the human ability to maybe cross over into these dimensions then? Do you think, do you believe in that maybe this dream state or in remote viewing or things like this? Do you think maybe there's a connection there with these other dimensions, or do you think this is all just a figment of our imaginations?
No, absolutely. I think we've been able to go out of body for a long time, and I think the ability to go out of body and travel different timelines, different dimensions, different universes, and do lots of things. I think that's one of the massive number of abilities that we're all endowed with.
Okay, and then it's just something that we do not use, or many of us forget, or something like this. I've heard this before. I heard that part of this being a spiritual being and higher levels of consciousness, that we're able to do these things. It's just people don't believe in it. People don't practice it. People aren't doing the right things for their health to make these things happen. That seems to be what I hear from a lot of folks. Is that what you're saying? Something similar?
Yeah, exactly. And with that, like, I think when we come to this planet, there's a lot of things that we don't know. Now, I believe we're all born, and I think all of us are divine, and we all have layers of stuff that, much like when we come to this planet, figuring out who we are, where we're from, what we're meant to do. That's part of the fun game of life, and I think that more and more people are starting to. There's just something with these type of teachings are starting to be talked about more. Well, I'll tell you something. I've been listening to talk radio since 2014, and the talk about this type of spirituality is there's more and more people talking, more talk shows like yourself, Mike.
Which is good, right? I think is this that age of Aquarius? There's an
Absolutely.
Awakening. There's this awakening among people. I kind of agree, and it's weird that you can even look at some of the more mundane aspects of life, and I'll just say like politics, for instance, and you could see that like we are becoming ungovernable because people are starting to understand there's a greater truth than the narratives that they're pushing down our throat, and kind of ascending, and in at least those basic primitive senses. And of course, there's more. I agree with you. I think there's an awakening happening. How far this goes and what it means, I don't know, but I can hope for the best. I appreciate the call. Final thought while I got you on the phone, my friend?
No, it's a great show, man. Keep it up. Have a good night.
I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Look at that. We got friends in Canada. Not only that, smart friends in Canada. I love it. Sorry about that. I guess you guys couldn't hear me in the beginning. It was one of the greatest intros I ever did, but, well, you couldn't hear me. 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. What do you think? Is there this fifth dimension talk, again, some sort of bad clickbait, some sort of, like Rod Serling said in the very beginning, like I pointed out, a dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. Yeah. I encourage you to go back and watch some of those old Twilight Zones. They're amazing. Almost better than the X-Files, I'll give it that. Some people might call me names for comparing it to the X-Files. But, modern, one not so modern, black and white, etc. Two apples and oranges, but it's very, very, very good. And it's exploring a lot of these things, this dimension of our mind. And somebody mentioned, actually, I think Brian mentioned in the chat here a little bit earlier, like a dimension of the emotional state, something known as love, right? The dimension of love, which actually is interesting that we not on this particular show, but there was a particular movie called Interstellar. You guys seen this with Matthew McConaughey? Murph, remember all that? It was a fantastic one. But what they were talking about in the end of that movie, spoiler alert for a 10-year-old movie or whatever, but how our emotions actually transcend time and space. And for instance, if somebody passes away in our life, they may be gone from our own universe, let's say, but they still exist. And that in our gray matter, in our heart. And what does that mean? I guess that's the question. And what do you guys believe? In the end, like I said, I'm talking about pop fiction. I'm talking about movies. I'm talking about clickbait science in some capacities. I don't understand a lot of this, but it doesn't matter. I think to have larger conversations, you don't have to understand all of the scientific details, as it were, which I'll read some more of that in just a little bit. But we're talking about fermions tonight. We're talking about dark matter, and we're talking about this in particular. Let's see. Where did I put it? Here it is. Here we go. Actually, this isn't it. Anyway, 702-957-1037. 702-957-1037. Couple great smart calls tonight. What's on your mind? What do you think? Is this bit of fifth dimension talk just kind of bad clickbait? Theoretical physics? Or do you think humans have the ability to maybe transcend into these areas of, what would you call it? The multiverse. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Lesser Keys of Solomon in the chat. Yeah, lots of good stuff. Lots of ways that we can take this tonight. But here we go. Let's go back to this. This is the paper. This is what I was reading. I'm going to link this one more time. If you guys are interested in the actual the scientific basis behind where this came from and where the clickbait actually followed suit, dropping these and dropping it in the chat, and you guys can check it out as usual. I encourage you to follow up on me. Like I said, I do my best to not just make stuff up. And so here we go. There's interesting things here talking about fermion masses in the WED, the warped extra dimension, right? And so, yeah, it just gets, the more you read into this paper, the more ridiculous smart it gets and harder to understand. I'm going to read just a little bit more of this. This is the actual paper. And this is from, again, link.springer.com, and the article is Theoretical Physics by Adrian Carmona, Javier Castellano Ruiz, and Matthias Newbert. Sorry for the poor pronunciation, but I'm known for it. It's my thing, I tell you what. All right, here we go. So this is the crazy part, right? This is the crazy part. They're saying that let me read this. Okay, this is it right here. A natural question which arises in scenarios addressing the origin of the fermion bulk masses concerns the possible interplay with a bulk Higgs boson. In the 10th footnote here, we have considered a brane BRANE localized Higgs field, which does not mix at a tree level with the odd scalar field. However, in the more general case of a Higgs boson in the bulk of an extra dimension, such a mixing is unavoidable that needs to be taken into account. Anyway, like I said, the more you read into this, the more confusing it gets unless you're into theoretical physics and know the difference between fermions and quarks and this and that's and the other things, which is why I played some of that, the scientists talking about that from Fermilab, because, well, I don't understand a lot of it. I just don't. But okay, we've got a phone call, even better than listening to me yammer on. There's more here. There's definitely more to talk about, which we'll get to. And there's some surprising twists to this, actually. But let's go to this phone call one more time. If you want to be part of the show tonight, this is Troubled Minds, talking about the fifth dimension. We're talking about science and how there's a new scientific paper that suggests that the fermion and dark matter are a way into the fifth dimension. 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the link, the Discord link. We'll put you on the show. Simple as that. What's up? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. What is your first name and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up? I call myself Beechwood on the radio and on the internet. I'm calling from Saugus, Massachusetts. We're like 8 miles north of Boston.
Nice. What is on your mind, Beechwood?
Well, I can't give you any scientific answers, any real scientific answers, because for one, I'm considered what you consider uneducated. I don't have a college degree, and a lot of it actually goes over my head. But all right, I was going to tell you about a story. This was about five or 6 years ago. I literally woke up with amnesia. And I ended up in McLean Hospital. And when I was in the hospital, I was telling them that it's kind of funny. They have it written down. I have the records right here in front of me. I was asking them, what dimension am I in? Why doesn't anybody speak Latin? I asked them what year it was. I asked them what happened to everybody. And I said, does everybody live in this dimension? And basically they just looked at me like I was a fruitcake. And I forget what they gave me, but it put me to sleep. This was at Melrose Wakefield Hospital. And then I woke up at McLean Hospital. And basically I told them I lost my mind. So they asked me, first of all, like, what's your mental health history? And I actually don't have any. I was 30 years old, full-time job, 2 dogs, had a bass boat, loved to fish, loved to hike, like perfectly satisfied. Had a bunch of, really good friends, like to drink beers on the weekend, like textbook, normal, happy life. Never looked into always thought about aliens a little bit, but never looked into alternate dimensions and like the astral travel and the dream stuff people talk about. Always been a very vivid dreamer. But when I went into the hospital, I told them that I have they said, what's happening? I said, I'm getting a complete set of memories from an alternate timeline. And I remember people taking me to this world that's exactly the same as this, and the laws of physics were different. And they said it was a secret. And they said, now you know. And they said, they kept asking me, like, where are you from? And they said, and how do you know about this? And then this was at my work. I work at a restaurant. And then we went and sat down, and I remember the guy shot me in the back of the head. That's what I told him. And I woke up, and I had alopecia and a raw bald spot. So they told me, no, that was a dream. So I went and I got the medical records from the dermatologist I saw on the date. And they do exist. I did have it. But I don't know. They never had a diagnosis. And as quick as it came, it kind of went. But I got all these, I told them that the fifth dimension is like where consciousness comes from. And I asked them, Now, these are doctors. Like, these are real doctors. I sat in front of, like, there was, like, 8 doctors maybe. And you ask them, like, what happens when you die? And they don't have an answer. They have no answer. So I asked, like, what's the point of us being here? What's the point of life? And they tell you not to think about it because it's a toxic type of thinking that leads to, like, depression. But they don't have an answer for why we're here. So I ask, like, why is life so complicated? And they say that's all perception too. That's how complicated you make it. And then these are all, I have it all written down here. I know it's kind of like I'm reading off paper and I'm not speaking good, but
no, you're good. You were doing fantastic. You were doing great. I got a question for you.
Am I doing all right?
No, you're doing great,
up?
man. You were doing great. Okay, now this is the thing. What do you think happened? So do you believe that your consciousness actually passed over into this other dimension of sorts? And if so, what brought you back? Like, what do you think actually happened with this episode that you had?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I told them that there's aliens, that the human race is way older than all science states, because it, like, I brought up what I know about history, and like I think, what is it nowadays? They're finding skeletons that they're saying are like maybe 200,000 years old, and
yes.
Then like advanced civilizations really don't go back that far, like maybe 10,000. Egypt's like what, 6,000-7,000 maybe, and we jumped from what they call like primitive to, I look at like the 1800s was like extremely primitive to now. You would never imagine shooting a satellite into outer space, or like, you know, just the technology we have. And that led me to say that it's all natural, because I was talking with the doctor and I said, so everything around us that we're doing is our natural instinct. So I told him that makes plastic natural, that makes materials natural. And they told me no. And I said, but we existed here from here, evolved. And that's what our mind evolved to do. So yeah, we manipulated the elements, but it was all still here to begin with, and we made it. So if we make something unnatural, that's just a gap to me. Like, where does that come from? And that's what I told them, like, we come from another dimension, we got left here. I was kind of jumping all over the place. I said we're an experiment. And I said, like, I feel like I'm in this, like, machine thing, driving it. Like I was somewhere else. And I switched consciousness, and, like, the old me is gone. And one of them, like, went around on this adventure, and now it's stuck in his body. They told him, when I woke up, I went to brush my teeth, and I was like, I didn't see a toothbrush. I saw, like, a piece of plastic with more plastic on it, and I just saw chemicals, and you put it on that and rub it in your mouth, and it just felt so, like, unnatural and weird.
That is weird.
And I was like, I do this every day. I've done this every day for 30 years. Like, and then I was just looking around, and I was like, it's so complicated. Like, just to sit down, I have to build a chair to, like, sit comfortably. I mean, you can't sit on the ground, but I was like, where does all this come from? And I was like, where does your imagination come from? And that's one thing that no doctor will give you an answer. They say it's part of our survival instinct to create. But some of the things like that we create and imagine just wouldn't help us to, the way we live here. Like, just think of any horror movie, monster, anything you can think of. And then I said, it's how come some people have more than others? Because I know for a fact, if you put, like, if you take the average person and you give them a piece of paper and markers and you tell them to draw anything you want, let your imagination run wild, draw anything you want, they just sit there and, like, stare. They don't draw anything. They'll say, I can't think of anything. And, some people do, but the general population is just conditioned. It's just conditioned, and like Facebook does it. The last show, they use positive reinforcement. different issue, but
yeah, completely different.
Yeah, we never came up with an answer or anything.
Still searching,
just,
like many of the rest of
my
us.
contribution, a lot of questions that I had that they can't answer, and they don't give you a reason why they can't answer them.
Yeah, I think.
And I told them this is
some questions.
Other world. I said,
yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I appreciate the story. So we got to get moving because we got to take a break here. But Beechwood from Massachusetts, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for the call tonight.
All right, yeah, no problem, man.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. There you go. So what do you guys think? Interesting, right? And I'm sure many of you have similar experiences where you maybe have possibly crossed into this dream state. This, people have said they remote view. People have said, like Beechwood here, that they had a medical episode and woke up feeling not really human anymore, like they came from some other world. So once again, do you think we're playing tricks with our own brains? Do you think we're fooling ourselves? Do you think we're simple clay, lucky mud, as it were? Or do you think there's something a little more to this? Which again is why we do this show. Speaking of this show, I'm having fun. Are you having fun? Consciousness. 702-957-1037. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubledminds.org. We're talking about consciousness tonight. We're talking about the fifth dimension. We're talking about fermions, dark matter, science. Is this clickbait? Is there something more to this consciousness? If you're here for the answers, you're in the wrong place. We do the questions here. You want to be part of the show? TroubledMinds.org. Click the Discord link. Come say hi. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. Hang tight, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. Streaming live on YouTube, streaming live on Facebook, streaming live on DLive, broadcasting on the Fringe FM. Looking to hear from you tonight, 702-957-1037. Does the fifth dimension exist? What about this clickbait science? They trying to pull one over on us? Hyper reality, as it were. Well, if you like the conversation, you're in the right place. And we have a phone call. I appreciate all the phone calls tonight, guys. You guys have been absolutely amazing. You are on Troubled Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Michael, this is Michael, and I'm calling from Virginia.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Pretty good. What do you think about all this upside down stuff, the fifth dimension? What can you tell me about any of this?
Well, I can't tell you anything about it, but I can tell you about some experiences. As far as seeing dimensionally, one thing I know that's happened to me and other people that I know that it happens to, I used to do psychic readings for a living. I don't really do any of that anymore. And the very beginning when that started, about 4 months into it, I would start to see little dots of lights that floating around the edges of door frames and doorways. Okay, but I can only see them when I shift it up high enough to see them. And over the years, it progressed, and now I can see them anytime I want. And I started running into other people who can see the same thing. I also, at one point in time, could show other people what was going on. Then they could see them also, and they weren't really looking for it. They weren't, developing any kind of psychic ability. But I was able to, get into their frequency psychically and get everybody, leveled out so they could all see it. And for years, I didn't know what it was. So I looked up online, and it's called, for I guess all practical purposes, entopic phenomena. And the explanation is that the white blood cells follow along the capillaries in the back of your eyes, and then you can see them out in front of you, okay, for like a split second. And they explain exactly what's going on. But I couldn't see them. I didn't know about them until I started doing readings and getting more psychically involved or developing your psychic ability. But that's when I started seeing them. So I don't know that the explanation they give online or, when you research this stuff, that's more scientific explanation. But if you can't see them until you rearrange your consciousness or start looking for more, then I think it's more than that. Now, when you talk about seeing in dimensions, just imagine that you've got computer screens in the back of your head, okay? Because something's got to reflect back into the eye to push the object back out. Like we see trees and stuff like that, we see what's in front of us. The only reason we see it because that image is going to the back of the eye and it's being reflected back out, okay?
Okay.
And that's basically what's going on. So what you have now, just like, you have your computer and you've got 3 different screens, you're on the internet, you've got a website on each, computer, monitor, and all this stuff. To me, you're looking at the same thing. Only it's organic, and as you progress in psychically, into your mind looking out, okay, mind's eye, then that gets reflected back into your physical eyes. And that's where we're able to see some of the stuff we see, like a ghost. Some people have seen Bigfoot, other people haven't. At that moment, were they at the frequency in their minds to see that? That type of thing. And I think that's where it's all at. The dark matter thing, I think scientists are looking for a physical way to handle dimensional traveling. Now, I've also seen a dimensional portal in action. I've seen it used. Okay, that was back in 1995, and you saw these little. And if you look, they look like satellites flying up into it. They were flying very fast, but they would come up to it and do a right angle, and straight up they went. But it was a doorway in the sky. So we have those things in use, and it's our I don't want to say our military, but whatever program's handling them, we have that stuff in use already. So it's all there. And when they talk about dark matter, that's okay. I think they're looking for the physical, like you can Stargate the show.
Yeah.
To open it up that way.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up actually.
But it's in our minds to see these things.
So let me ask you while I got you on, does this have anything to do with, like, I've heard people talk about auras in this. Can you see those? And you see as those in existence of maybe this part of this other dimension as like attached to us in some way?
Well, I've seen auras, and I saw one very specifically. I've been, a psychic thing, it's been a journey. And I saw a woman's aura, very specifically in a laundromat, probably in the early 90s. I was just in there, and I just gotten off the phone line, went to do my laundry, and I'm, still like way out there, opened up. And I could just see the blue around her shoulders, different color around the head. What I honestly believe is we have human dimensions around us that are just beyond us, that we can all see. And then as you work out in dimensions, you've got to shift your frequency, but it's not the body frequency, it's the mind frequency that you have to shift. Your spirit frequency that shifts and changes, but it's connected directly to your brain and your eyes and your head. Okay, I think the physical part of us, the body part kind of goes to the wayside when we start to do this. I forgot the question.
No, perfect. No, you're good. I asked you about auras, and you actually answered it twice as good as I ever could have asked. You were doing fantastic. I appreciate the call. We got one right behind you. A final thought while we got you on the phone?
Okay.
Okay. Michael from Virginia, I appreciate the call, my man. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Simple as that, guys. Look at that. Look at the amazing smart people that are listening to this show. 702-957-1037. Thank you, Michael from Virginia. Always nice to hear from another Michael, for one. And always nice to know Michaels are smart. I appreciate the call, my friend. All right, let's go to an old friend of the show, the very first caller that ever called into Troubled Minds, Kelly, my friend from Colorado. How are you? How you doing tonight? What is on your mind?
What's going on? How you doing?
Pretty good. Just talking about all the weird stuff that we like to do, you know.
Oh yeah.
What do you think? Fifth dimension? What's going on with all this?
Me and the wife were pondering this the other night because I don't know what we were doing, but we came across the Higgs boson that was pretty interesting, you know, the God particle. So, like when I was talking in chat, the Higgs boson is what they're explaining it's the very instant, the very moment when mass or when energy becomes mass. So to me, if I take that and take it out of the scientific realm and you put that into life, that's the exact moment. Because we're all energy beings. Everybody should know that. We're all energy beings in a meat suit, right? You know, everybody's heard that saying. But the thing about it is, if you think about it in that perspective, is when light or when energy becomes mass, and it could be anything, right? It could be like rock, stones, trees, whatever. But if you take it into a living perspective as a human being, or as what we are, that would be the moment we became human. Now, the thing I was thinking about after that was, how would you reverse that? And to me, that would be death. So again, when you die, you become your true self, which is energy, because energy never dies, it just transforms, right?
Right. I've heard this.
So yeah, so if you, this is the thing, is so if you can hold that open, what I think scientists are trying to do is, like, you know, with the collider, you know, you have what they're trying to do, I believe, because they're trying to open up jump gates. So if they're claiming that Higgs boson, that if they can actually open up that moment of time or moment of in space time, I guess, in that moment, whether we reverse, you know, into when you go into from energy to mass or mass to energy, if you could hold that open, that could be a door or the window into said dimensions. Because like that, I was interesting with that. When I was listening to that guy that was talking earlier, you know, from Massachusetts, which was interesting to hear. And then you think about that and you put that in perspective as dimensions, right? So if you die, it doesn't mean that you can't, you know, like if they have reincarnation, say, you know, so it's like energy transforming into something else again. So if you think about that, it doesn't mean that you come back to this dimension. It could be any other dimension you want or any other world. I wouldn't say you want, or where it places you, I guess, where the big whole scheme of things could be placing you. Maybe it could be coming back to reincarnate on this planet or into a different dimension. And to talk about CERN like that too, like I said, I remember researching a while ago where there was two scientists that were saying that they could claim, their claim was that they used light, it was like a light frequency that they were using, you know, to channel that you could see, because dimensions are in waves. So the light spectrum that they're using, they could say, they claimed that they could see, and it showed up in different colors, you know, through the light spectrum. And they're claiming that they could see at least 10 to 11 dimensions that, you know, that we can't see through our eyes, because we can only see so much and hear so much as this species anyway. You know what I mean? Because there's things floating around us we can't see. There's things that are, you know, we can't hear, and you never know. So that's the only thing I wanted to call in and kind of add on there. I know I'm more limited on time, but Yeah, so that's what the thing I was just thinking about was if they could hold that door open, maybe that's what they're looking for, into a different dimension or even a different world, or who knows what they're playing around with. But that's what it seems like to me. But, again, if to reverse that, and that was the thing I was wanted to talk about real quick too, was the billionaire. He put out the $1 million, Robert Bigelow, when he was saying that he wants to know if you could have your conscience follow you through after death. And the only one that I've known or came across that have done that would be Toph, or the Trismegistus, where he was born 3 times. Or Toph was actually he died and he overcame death, but to overcome death and come back here, he would have to be reincarnated. That's why they call him, the Trismegistus. And I think the other person or the other thing that he came back as was Saturn or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know the names, but I know exactly who you're talking about there. Fascinating stuff, man. I was thinking about this too, the Higgs field, right? Just like you were saying. So if we're energy, and as the Higgs field creates energy into matter, that's a fascinating take, that when people pass on, that there's some way back to that energy. And so you have to be able to cross back the other way into the Higgs field to be, basically, let's call it the Matrix, and you're reassigned, right? Your energy is reassigned in some form, maybe where you're needed the most even. Fantastic stuff, Kelly. Amazing call. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. You guys have a good night.
Thanks a lot, man. You too. Good stuff. Holy smokes, guys. You guys are blowing me away tonight. Started out a little shaky because I wasn't even sure if this was going to resonate. And you guys are blowing my mind. Got a little bit extra time if anybody wants to be on the show tonight. Got about 10 minutes or so, and we're going to finish up 702-957-1037. Join the Discord, troubledminds.org. Also go to Fringe FM, fringe.fm/chat to join that Discord as well, please. And it's the same program. It's just 2 different chat rooms. Come say hi. Come meet all these smart people. All the smart people you hear calling, most of these folks are on Discord already and share information all the time. So okay. Now, like I said, you guys make this too much fun. You guys, all the calls tonight has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Let me, as we finish this out and wind this down, we're going to go a third hour on the streaming platform. So we're going to finish up in about 10 minutes on Fringe FM, another hour in Facebook and YouTube and D Live, just so you know. So if you guys want to hang around for a third hour and give me a call then, and I'll give you a little extra time. We don't have commercials or any of that stuff. So let me know. But I want to, before we get there, look at this. This is crazy. Not just crazy, weird. And it actually fits into exactly what we're talking about tonight. Now, if the 5th dimension, kind of like I started with there are 2 ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. All right. Now, back to that mirror image universe, which some people have called the upside down. The upside down. There's more. Check this out. Now, this is from energy.gov. Yeah. Energy.gov. And this is like exactly what Michael was saying just a little bit earlier when he called in, that there are these portals in use. And whether it's the government or some other entity, look what the government is saying about this. And let me note, this is from October 27th, 2017. Headline is this: The Science Hidden in Stranger Things Science Fiction. Now, I'm going to just read just a little bit of this as we finish up. All right. The upside down is described in the show Stranger Things as existing in an extra dimension alongside the ones we can see, an extra dimension that can be accessed through a portal. The upside down obeys few of the rules of our dimension and seems like an element of the story that is much more fiction than science. But is it? Actually, there is real, hard science behind the idea of extra dimensions, they say on energy.gov, a government website, by the way. Let me say that again, in case anybody missed that. And it continues, in both theory and experiment. It turns out the ideas presented in the Stranger Things episode, The Flea and the Acrobat, are pretty much spot on. In the show's analogy, an acrobat on a tightrope can move only forward or backward. But a flea on that same tightrope, working on a much smaller scale, can move all around the rope, in other dimensions, seeing more of them. Since we're the acrobat in this analogy, the question is how to test if extra dimensions really exist. One way of seeing evidence for other dimensions involves gravity. Interesting parallel? Interesting parallel, right? This is exactly what we're talking about, and we go back to an article from 2017 that supposedly hasn't seen this paper that just hit, this scientific paper we've been talking about tonight, but they were talking about this in 2017. Gravity. Interesting. One way of seeing evidence for other dimensions involves gravity, specifically the theoretical particle associated with the force of gravity, called the graviton. One theory suggests that the graviton may move in all dimensions, not just the ones we live in. And if we can create gravitons at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, we might be able to see evidence of them leaving our dimensions for other dimensions. Gravity leaking into extra dimensions could explain why it is such a weak force. Gravity becomes strong in places we can't see, while the other forces, such as electromagnetism, are constrained to our familiar three spatial dimensions. With the Large Hadron Collider, we can probe what the flea in the above analogy sees by imagining at incredibly tiny scales. And if the full force of gravity is as strong as the other forces are, then colliding high-energy particles in a small region of space would create microscopic black holes, harmless ones that decay in a fraction of a trillionth of a second, which would be evidence of gravity slipping into other dimensions. Need I remind you, this is from energy.gov. Yep. Yep, energy.gov. That they are out there doing experiments into other dimensions. What the heck is going on? People talk about secret space programs, about DARPA being 30 or 40 or 50 years ahead of us. But this is something entirely different, is it not? If people can open portals now to other dimensions, maybe that explains the craziness of the last, since 2012, let's say. We'll get into the CERN conspiracy at some point as well and talk about 2012 and the Nick Hinton philosophy. And that maybe in 2012, when they discovered the Higgs field and the Higgs boson, that somehow, some way, they opened up a portal that swallowed up our reality and cast us off into the bizarre upside down that we currently live in. Crazy. Michael adds in that called in earlier saying that he saw the actual portal in the sky. He says, Michael, it was a smoke ring in the sky, saying these things exist. These things exist. This is absolutely off the rails, right? This is the upside down. I always call it the upside down, and I think you can even say this in the physical world, because all you have to do is turn on the television and listen to the garbage they're trying to make you believe. Everything seems to be gaslighting you into believing something else, oddly enough. It's always seemed a little bit backwards, but I have to admit, maybe since 2012, maybe that's the timeline. Maybe that's when we spun off into an alternate reality. Maybe that's when we ended up in a reality where Donald Trump became president. Like the Simpsons episode or whatever. It just seems crazy. It just seems crazy, right? I don't know. Again, this is you are in the wrong place if you're here for answers. I don't have those answers. Like I said, like I'll always say, I'm going to link my sources. You can always follow up on me. I encourage you to read these scientific papers. I encourage you to read all of the things that I've put up there from the Department of Energy. Energy.gov. Yeah, that's right. The science hidden in Stranger Things science fiction. Right there. Right there. Go read it. Check it out. Now, there's a quote. I was looking for a particular quote. There's an individual that said from the Department of Energy that there was actual portals that they're experimenting with. I couldn't find that quote, but that article is good enough because it states the same thing. that they've been looking into this and that this is a real phenomenon. And odd that in 2017 they were talking about basically dark matter as the way into other dimensions. And now suddenly this new, quote, new scientific paper appears. And what are they saying? Oddly enough, exactly what the Department of Energy was saying in 2017. Coincidence? Do you guys believe in coincidence? Oh, I should have the clip from Signs. I'd play that right now. But it's okay, because we're about to be done here. Holy smokes, 2 hours flies by when you get amazing calls. Thank you guys so much for calling in tonight. Like I said, it makes it go by. It makes me learn things. That's the most important part. I did this. I started this show because I wanted to learn things, and I wanted to discuss some of these bigger equations that are part of the human condition, part of the human consciousness. And holy smokes, right? Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I'd get so many smart callers in the same night. And I did. We did. And I appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening. As we finish up tonight, we're still talking about, for another hour on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive, about consciousness. If you're listening on the Fringe FM, stay tuned. You are going to hear from Joe Roop and Lighting the Void. Joe Roop is the man. And of course, as he usually does, I'm sure he's exploring more consciousness. There's always more, right? There's always more to talk about. Craziness. So much fun. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We'll be back tomorrow night for more of this, 7 p.m. Pacific, talking about who knows what. Actually, we'll have Ash, the reptilian from Mars, on, and he's the co-host, and we'll be talking about some other different, stranger things. Okay. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. For another hour. Hang tight. Going to take a quick break at the restroom, and we're going to continue trucking. We're talking about consciousness. What about what Kelly said? Holy smokes. The Higgs field creates matter from energy. So what happens when we pass on? Is there a way back into that energy field? Oddly enough, some timelines suggest there's some other weird stuff going down, like the Department of Energy knowing about this in 2017. Hang tight, we'll be right back. Looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. One more time. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. Be right back in a couple minutes, and let's do this. Keep on talking about all the weird stuff. All right. We are back. And here's the thing. There's some weirdness with this, right? There's some weirdness. Let's go back to that article. Now, again, from the Department of Energy. Can you believe this? Can you actually believe this? For me, it's a little bit difficult to swallow. We have supposedly the scientific paper that's coming out right now and is making the rounds in the news cycle. And for some bizarre reason, that the Department of Energy was talking about this with Stranger Things back in 2017. Energy.gov. Energy.gov. What the heck is this all about, right? I don't know. This is a little bit disturbing, if you ask me. That they seem to be dabbling in these things, and I don't know. I guess they're messing with the fabric of reality, right? Yeah, pretty crazy. I've got some. What is this? What is this guy talking about? This guy's actually. I got some clips here. This guy's pretty smart. This is a TED Talk. So I'm going to play a couple clips. If you guys just to round this show out and get some more information, because it's important in my opinion to have more information than less. And so I'm going to play some clips. But if I'd rather talk to you, as you all know. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Join the Discord, troubledminds.org. There's a thing here. There's a thing called what's this thing called? It's a TED Talk. That's what it's called. You guys know what a TED Talk is. And there's an individual. Let's see. Let me find this TED Talk. It's not the fermions and bosons. It's not this. It's this right here. All right. Now this guy is he's asking the question. Now this is way back in 2012. So these questions seem to be on the top of scientists' minds, and they're thinking about these things. They're thinking of how to punch through into these other dimensions. Now this is Arlie O. Petters. He's a professor of mathematics, physics, and business administration at Duke University. And he's talking about, is there a fifth dimension, which is in the purview of the show tonight. So again, if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Join the Discord, troubledminds.org. And here's part one from this individual discussing whether or not there's an actual fifth dimension and trying to explain what we know about it.
I want to pose a very simple but provocative question. You're sitting there. I am standing here. We are experiencing a three-dimensional space, length, width, and height. We also have on our watches, so there's another dimension, time. And so we are here in a four-dimensional world. I would like to ask a very simple question. Can there be a fifth dimension? And this extra dimension would not just be a dimension, say, of time, but we're thinking a dimension of space. But isn't that a weird question? Can you imagine moving in a direction beyond length, width, and height? And so that is a provocative question of today's story. Let us begin by taking a look at a little bit of issues that would relate to a higher dimensional object. So let us begin with the following picture. We have a wire cube, and we're going to shine light on it. What you're seeing below is a shadow of that wire cube. But it's not just an ordinary shadow. It's a special one that captures the extra properties of the full object. So if you count the vertices in this cube, you'll see the number of vertices in that shadow. If you count the edges in that cube, you will see the exact number. In fact, this shadow has a name. It's called a Schlegel diagram. Now, the question arises, what would be the shadow of a four-dimensional cube, a tesseract that we're all familiar with? In that case, the shadow will not appear in the ground. It would sit in three-dimensional space.
Hear that? A tesseract. What is the shadow of a five-dimensional object, a fifth-dimensional object? What is the shadow of a tesseract? And he says it will not sit on the ground like in a three-dimensional space. It will hover in the air. You understand? What the heck? I'm telling you, you got to like sit down and get yourself in the position and cross your legs and put your fingers on your temples and just focus and concentrate and think about these things, because holy smokes, right? Like this is not just science. This at some point becomes deep philosophy, does it not? And that's what we're here doing, talking about these things one more time. Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. We're talking about, as always, consciousness. We're talking about the fifth dimension. We're talking about how this affects you. What's up with this weird article that just came out, Popular Mechanics, and the paper that we linked earlier. I'll link it again, actually, if you guys want to read it. And I do encourage you to read it. There's whether it's over your head or not, learning these things and these larger concepts, I think, are important. And let me find this. Here we go. Here's the link itself. This is from link.springer.com. I'll drop it in the chat. Copy that, Penny. Thank you. All right, so here's the deal. Drop it in the chat. You guys can check this out. Actually, we've neglected chat tonight. Let's go to the chat because of the commercials. I don't know what happened, guys. I had this weird headache and I couldn't really see. Like so it was like a light headache, and I had like when you stare at a screen too long and you kind of get like this like bright spot. It was like that when we started. I wasn't sure I was going to do the show tonight, but it cleared up, so I'm okay. But it's just weird. It's just weird that so when it started, I kind of wasn't really in my right headspace, and many of you may have noticed. But it kind of cleared up, and I'm good. But weird. It was just weird how this started tonight, and so I broke the music so that, or the everything, so that nothing was really working, and we had to play the commercials anyway. So now you know what's up. Anyway, I was not quite right, but I'm better now. I'm good. We're totally good. Let's see. Let's read some good chat. Brian says this from Facebook: "You have permission to open your heart and feel freely to love, to think and to feel the way you see fit without fear of retribution. That is your God-given right." And that is a fantastic comment. Exactly. Going back to the chat here, guys. Sorry I've neglected you tonight. Thomas says the quirky quantum entanglement might have something to do with the fifth dimension. That's interesting. Very possible, huh? Let's see. Joe and Thomas talking about the Seminoles. Let's see. Brian says we cannot think beyond God. That's where our thoughts will stop. And I think that's a big thought right there. That is a big thought. God is the beginning and God is the end. Let's see. Brian says, you try to play God, you will only succeed in killing yourself. God won't kill you. He'll let your arrogance destroy yourself. Remember that. Talking about CERN. Thomas says, you are all at war with advanced civilizations. The Bible is a book describing this in the language of the ancient prophets known as seers. What's up, Joe? Joe from Florida says, fun show. Hey, Joe. All kinds of other people called in tonight. That's weird. That's different. Maybe we are on the upside down, eh? Benjamin says, this is really important info. I'll need a place to stay when I get back home. If I had one, here I go again. After 10 years of being stranded in Mexico with absolutely none and not a support for my family. It's, what are we saying here? I'll keep my own. It's why I'll need to create my own with your help kindly. I'm not sure the reference there. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Let's see. So many good comments, guys. Benjamin says, anybody renting a black house? What, a back house? Oh, I see. You're looking for a place. I see. Anybody can help Benjamin out? Anybody have a place for him to stay and live with some rent there? I don't know. I don't know where you live or any of that. Is it Mexico, you said? Let's see. What else do we got? William, anybody saw the opening ceremony of the constructed tunnel at CERN? Creepy. I don't know what the devil was. Devil has to do with it, but it's that's what was being portrayed. Yeah, it's weird, right? Some of these quote rituals where they, the ribbon cutting ceremony type things, they do some weird stuff. It just seems it's like, okay, look, can you make it not seem like a ritual something like a ritual? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Beechwood, what's up, says, great call, Beechwood. Thank you for the call tonight. Isn't there some 12-year-old genius kid that claims CERN blew up the world when we all died? And we all died. Yeah. I think that's Nick Hinton. I don't think he's 12, but he's we'll get to that at some point. We'll talk about that. I think that's worthy of a show to talk about how that theory went down and how maybe some of this stuff actually ties into that. Brian says the first tunnel is the opening to the gateway to hell, a.k.a. the destruction of this planet and our minds and our heart. And yeah, I can buy that. William says, read about that article that CERN scientists say the world ended in 2012 and that the current world is not real and we are in another dimension. And like Leslie said, like it's more of a simulation sort of thing too. So who knows, right? I don't really know. I don't have answers here. Just, again, looking to you guys. You want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037, troubleminds.org. Just kind of cruising through the chat, catching up because I've grotesquely neglected you guys tonight. So let's read some chat and get caught up here. Brian says CERN needs to shut down soon. They're playing God, and God is watching, and he's not going to save us. Yeah. Benjamin says missed the whole show due to Wi-Fi technical problems. That's not good. That is not good. I think you're probably not the only one. We got some other problems here in the States as well. That people in freezing areas with no power and this sort of thing going on. Pretty nuts. What's up, Jay? Thanks for showing up. Trying to catch up. Well, welcome to the Thunderdome, my friend. Elizabeth says Department of Energy is pushing windmills, which are freezing in Texas, which is not funny because people are dying, but otherwise it would be funny, right? It's a terrible thing. It's and they're freezing. But now think about it. Like I said, now I've been on this for like a week on the news show. If you guys watch the news show, but if we have those actual geoengineering, we put the particulates, the reflective particulates in the air. What happens when we have a cold snap like this? Right? It's 3 or 4 or 5 degrees cooler. Who knows? Like, what the hell is really happening? The weather does some bizarre things anyway. So it's just odd that us trying to fix the problem like that may just cause more problems. It's nuts. Brian says Mother Nature is trying to help God out with the energy problem. Well, hopefully. I mean, there's a lot here, right? There's a lot here. Let's see. Kelly says, would you even have a shadow in the fifth dimension? I think that's the question, right? So you hear what they're saying. So a tesseract and a shadow from the fifth dimensional object would actually be floating in 3 dimensions. It wouldn't be like a shadow cast on the ground. So weird, right? Weird. Definitely weird stuff. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, damn, Mike, you're being bombarded by all kinds of electromagnetic energy all day and Wi-Fi, and maybe take a day off or 2 between shows. Yeah, I spend too much time on the computer. That's for sure. Let's see. James says Thunderdome. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. All right, let's go to YouTube. Let's catch up on the chat, guys. So if you want to be part of the show, looking to hear from you tonight, talking about a fantastic call with Kelly there, the Higgs boson, right? As energy becomes mass in the Higgs field, there's got to be a way back from mass to energy, right? And maybe this is that fifth dimension and this Stranger Things and the upside down and what these actual scientists are looking for. Pretty good stuff. Let's see. Let's see. Who else do we got? Let's see. No. D Live, actual D Live. The D Live is not the D. We don't want the D, Philip. We don't want the D, buddy. Eli's awake after that boring ass sermon from the Fermion professor. Going back to that, let's see. What else do we got? Who else? Axel says the fact we haven't discovered the graviton is a problem because you need to find one to know for sure that gravity is a quantum force like the other forces, right? Exactly. And so we still don't know. It's still funny enough. The graviton itself and gravity itself doesn't have an actual a proper definition just yet. I guess that's a good way to put it. A proper definition. Let's see. What do we got? Who else? Yeah, that was my bad on the audio issues. Good thing the caller could hear me though, right? Let's see. Yeah. Spoiler in the 10-year-old movie. Murph. What's up, Jacob? How you doing? Thanks for showing up. Let's see. Who else? What up? Pretty spicy chat. What's going on in the chat? What the heck's going on over there, guys? Let's see. Sunny Zacatecas, Mexico. YouTube is better, but it keeps on freezing. Yeah, that's not good. Like I said, there's some power outages and things going on. So who knows what's actually happening out there? Yeah. All right. Just talking about the Higgs boson, talking about dark energy, talking about this weirdness. Dark matter. I think it is, right? Dark matter. Let's see. This Moto G9 Plus comments are tiny to see. I think I have a Moto G9. No, not a G9. I have a Moto something, G something. Anyway, let's see. What else do we got? Sunny Zacatecas, Mexico says, what do people think, what happened to the UFO materials? I think actually, oddly enough, I don't think there are any. In the most recent reports, I think those were fake. fake news. Unfortunately, I did a show on it last week. If you want to check that out, again, people are still arguing over it on Twitter and stuff. But I think it's fake. I think it was a misinterpretation of government data. Let's see. What else do we got? Let's see. Leslie says, weird world is Wonderland. Exactly upside down. Right is wrong and backwards. Yeah, and it seems like, doesn't it? It certainly seems like it. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. This is the Dark Realm. Michelangelo. Yep. Catching up on the chat. Yeah, good calls. We had some good calls tonight, huh, guys? Holy smokes. We had some great calls. But anyway, just kind of talking up, catching up on this stuff here, and figuring out what's going on with this dark energy and dark matter and whatever the heck this actually is. And this paper, a warped scalar portal to fermionic dark matter, and a portal into the fifth dimension. Weird, right? Clickbait, old news. Weird that the Department of Energy was talking about it 4 years ago now, especially in the same context. Huh, weird, definitely weird. Let's see. What else do we got? Let's see. Let's see. What else do we got? Yep, love Stranger Things. Agreed. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to take a phone call. We got a phone call coming in. I appreciate it. If you guys want to line up after this, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubleminds.org. It's the official website, and let's do it. Jay from New York, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Mike. Hope all is well with you. The Thunderdome comment that you made there, that was funny. Because that's basically where we are.
Kinda, right?
You know?
Kinda.
What kind of BS story can we tell you today and make you put your 3 masks on and go out there and go about your business? You know, I mean, we're hitting it full force right now. The thing about the 12-year-old kid, you know, coming up there, I think he was like 15, 16, wasn't he really? That's saying that they opened up another dimension there, the Higgs boson, long time ago. Damn it. You know, you're messing with things that we shouldn't, you know?
Yeah. So,
we don't need to have cows anymore. We should be eating plant-based something or other or protein.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly some arguments still going on about this, you know, like whether this is whether it's real or not, you know. I mean, I think that's the thing. That's part of why we do it this way. Part of why we include you guys, because it's just like I said, you know, I could give you one slant on it and then be done, and you know, be like, oh yeah, it's a great show, whatever, you know, like it wasn't that fun, but then we don't hear from you guys.
Yeah, but you document it.
Yeah, of course.
You document it.
But still, it doesn't mean
you got your information from somebody else.
It still doesn't mean it's right.
It still doesn't mean it's right.
It doesn't mean it's right.
No, it doesn't at all. It doesn't mean it's right at all. That's the problem that's going on right now. This is the way that we should think. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Why can't I ask a question without being censored?
Yeah, well,
you know,
I mean,
even if it's a dumb question, you know.
what's
I was
the
taught
question?
when I grew up, the only question that was dumb was the one that wasn't asked.
There you go. Not anymore.
You got to ask it. I mean,
not anymore.
What are you doing here? You know, the thing that you were saying in the radio show about, let's put particulates up in the sky to reflect the sunlight back out into space so it doesn't warm our planet. But, damn, we're screwed because we messed up with our solar power thing, and Texas is freezing right now. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about the upside down, right?
Does anybody think about what they're doing before they do it?
Yeah. Well, think about that. The upside down, Texas is blanketed in snow. And I think the on record low they have is like 24 degrees or something. And they're at 9 degrees right now. 9. Yeah, that's crazy. So, hey, let me ask you.
We're warm. We're at 11, so we're warmer than them.
That's crazy. That's absolutely insane.
York mountains, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you. Let's get back on subject here. So I'm not sure you're listening to most of the show, but we're talking about the fifth dimension and talking about how people may or may not have access to it through either remote viewing or through like dream states or any of the rest of this. What do you think about that?
I was thinking Brian said that thing there that, heading down the love road, the element, the diehard guy, it's love. We got to take care of each other. We really do. It's just, we're heading into uncharted waters that are absolutely off the board. We can't. They throw so much information at us every day about WTF. Like, wow. I mean, it's going to come down to, hey, I'm still looking for that P.O. box, man, so I can send you 100 in cash.
Are you shaking
really
me down?
Where we're at.
Are you shaking me down, bro?
I have been shaking up a little bit. I've been sending you a text message and trying to hit you on the Discord and subtle hints in the chat.
Okay, let me.
I'm going to write you a letter in cursive just so the AI bot can't read it when it runs through the mail machine.
Write it in, and then you got to write it in code. You got to write it in code. All right. Hey, so have you ever had any kind of paranormal experiences? Have you had any kind of paranormal experience where you believe that maybe you saw into a fifth dimension? Or again, do you think this is so some people say that anybody can do it. Anybody can kind of reach out into these other realms, but you have to train yourself to do it. Have you ever had any experience with that or known anybody who did?
Well, when you're little kids and stuff like that, and you play the stupid games with the Ouija board, and the looking in the mirror and saying the thing and stuff like that, your brain takes off on you, and it does. And I think it's really important to play those games when you're younger and stuff like that, and let your mind experiment with what your mind can do, because we're so smart. I mean, even the dumbest of us are so smart. And there are things, if you put your mind to something, you can do it. Obviously, you're doing it. I mean, you're doing it. You're taking articles from somebody else, you're putting them out there, and people are listening to you. I mean, yeah. Okay, I got a question about that now.
All right, go ahead.
The joke that I was making the other day about, hey, on eBay, I want some of that chip that was found down on the ground over there by Roswell. I want to hit it with a hammer, What happens to it? Why can't the normal people? I might be the guy that figures it all out. You might be the guy that figures it all out. Ask. Anyway.
I doubt that. I mean, these are big damn questions, man. Like I said, I'm satisfied just talking about them. I don't expect answers to these questions these big in our lifetimes anywhere. Like, who knows? Maybe even all of humanity. I just don't know. But yeah. Again, it's a fun conversation, right? It's definitely a fun conversation. Let's see.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's better than watching CNN and the force-fed 5 questions of the day. I've never looked up dark matter before because it's not in the news feed. You want to put some stuff out there about it, and the facts. They're really facts.
I want the truth.
Scientific documents.
You can't handle the truth.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying my best to handle it, but I haven't found anybody who's going to give it to me yet.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. What's up? Shout out to chat. We got Ash over there. We got GameVet02. We got Franklin showing up. We got Richard. Thanks for being here, guys. Many subjects. I see you there. Thanks for showing up. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Carry on. Let's do this. What the hell's going on with the fifth dimension, Jay? Help me, brother.
I don't know. It's probably been sitting right there the whole time. It's just like the corruption and everything. You know, it's all really probably been sitting there back since Jesus. You know, even before the Egyptians were stacking up their blocks. You know, I've been listening to the show for quite a little bit now, and I look at it, and it's like we always go back to that. There's some other thing that we just don't get yet. Whatever that might be. The alien's been there forever, you know, God, the Great Spirit, Buddha, you know, Muhammad, you know, whatever. You know, they've been telling us about it all the time, but the thing is they won't educate us. They'll teach us how to read, but they won't teach us how to read the stuff that we need to know how to learn. You know, I was a Boy Scout leader for years, and I always told the kids, I said, I'm not here to teach you how to do something. I'm teaching you how to learn whatever it is you need to learn while you're doing it. Because it's new. You've never done it before. You're going to fail. You're going to be wrong. You know, you have to try. If you don't try, you'll never learn. And I think we're rapidly slipping away from that.
Amen, brother. Amen.
This is what we want you to know.
Amen. Jay.
Yeah.
Jay from New York, you're the best, my friend. Be safe, you and the family. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. I know you're just calling to help me drink some beer. You have no idea. Like I said, I owe you a beer. We'll do that sometime.
So I want that P.O. box so I can send you some cash.
All right. You got it, buddy. You got it, buddy. You got it, buddy. It's the opposite shakedown. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Jay, thanks for the call. I'll talk to you soon, okay? Stay safe out there.
Love you, brother.
Thanks a lot,
Really.
man. Thanks a lot, man. You too. Back at you. Back at you. There you go, guys. You want to be part of the show? Look at that. Look at that. Look at the love. Look at the love flow. Look at the love flow. 702-957-1037. Ash the Reptilian. I see you out there, buddy. I see you. Don't act like you're hiding and stuff, because I can see you. I know all. What's up, Larry? How you doing? Larry says this is the age of Aquarius, and it says right there on the Facebook that Larry's a top fan, and I can confirm that because Larry's been listening to the show for a very long time. I can confirm the algorithm is correct this time. Larry is a top fan. What's up, my friend? Thanks for showing up tonight. All right, let's go. Let's continue. So the shadow of the Tesseract is where we left off regarding this individual talking about weirdness in the fifth dimension. This is from what's his name? This is from who is the guy? Ardley O. Petters is a professional mathematics, physics, and business administration at Duke University, talking about this. Is there a fifth dimension? He left off with a tesseract and a shadow floating in three-dimensional space. Part 2 action.
Some of you have seen this picture. It's a diagram that also captures the higher dimensional properties of this four-dimensional cube. Again, you can count the vertices, the edges, the faces, and so on. Well, this is a picture that has captured the ideas of architects, artists, and so on. If next time you're in Paris, you should take a look at the Grand Arch. You will see that this was the winning entry by the architect Spreckelsen for the competition of the Grand Arch set out by Mitterrand. It is actually the representation of this object that can sit in a five-dimensional space. So this is the kind of thing that we would like to address from a physics point of view. And in order to do that, let us begin by taking a look at Einstein's theory of gravity. When you look at how gravity acts on light, there is something very peculiar that happens. We all grew up thinking that light follows a straight line. But one of the profound things that Einstein showed us is when you have light traveling in space, the gravity of objects will bend it. And he was the first person to give the correct calculation of the bending angle. Now, I'd like to share with you an essay that he wrote in 1936 that most people are not aware of. In this essay, in fact, he was 57 years old, he showed that if you have an object, so in this case you have a satellite, and here we are on Earth, notice when the signal travels to Earth, it's bent by the gravitational field of the sun.
Okay, you see? This goes back to 1936 and Einstein, all right? Like, we're still talking about these universal concepts that supposedly, Michael called in earlier and said that he actually saw one of these gates open up, a portal. It was a ring of smoke in the sky, he said. Come to find out, this is a brand new paper that we're talking about tonight, that scientists say there's a portal to the fifth dimension. A new study claims to have found an explanation for dark matter, but relies on the discovery of a particle which leads to another dimension. Right? All right. Fine. Sure. Fine. Fine. All well and fine. But let's see. Where is it? Where do we go here? Here's the paper itself. Let me drop this in. But that's what's in the deck of cards tonight. That's what we're talking about. And what does all this mean? Again, do you believe a fifth dimension exists? Do you mean that there's some sort of actual anything out there? Or do you think that, again, this is a bunch of clickbait hogwash? Now, I'm going to tell you why I think it's not. And again, so not only do we have an eyewitness that called in saying they actually saw a portal itself, we have this. This is from the Department of Energy. Now, this is a little bit creepy, right? A little bit creepy. Talking about Stranger Things. Talking about the upside down. And talking about how this stuff actually does or does not work. And again, this was written in 2017. So explain to me, October 27, 2017, how the Department of Energy somehow knew that this extra dimension, and if they really exist, had to do with dark matter. Right there on the screen. I'll put it up full screen so everybody can see. I linked it right there, dark matter. Let's see. Where is it? Can move around the rope. Blah blah blah. The flea. Okay. Large Hadron Collider. Gravity leaking into extra dimensions could explain why it is such a weak force. Talking about gravity. Gravity becomes strong in places we can't see, while the other forces, such as electromagnetism, are constrained to our familiar three spatial dimensions. While the LHC can probe what the flea in the bottom of the analogy sees by imaging at incredibly tiny scales, if the full force of gravity is as strong as the other forces are, then colliding high-energy particles in a small region of space would create microscopic black holes, harmless ones that decay in a fraction of a trillionth of a second, which would be evidence of gravity slipping into other dimensions. Weird, right? Theoretical stuff, and then we have some Large Hadron Collider stuff that maybe backs it up, and here we are talking about this, trying to figure it all out, and what the heck is going on. And actually, we've got a phone call. Let's take the Discord phone call. Penny from the UK. Can you hear me? Testing 1 2. Test 1 2. I think we should be good. I don't think I broke any of the audio other than the radio.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, hello.
Did it work?
It's working now. How are you?
Yay!
Penny from the UK. And you sound better than ever. You sound better than last time. What's going on?
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Have I got an echo?
I don't hear one. Do you hear one?
No, I was just checking because obviously I can't hear what they hear. You know.
No, you're good. You're good.
Awesome. I had to ring up because you're talking about CERN and Stranger Things, and it's like my two favourite things right now. Well, I love Stranger Things, and the first thing I thought was when I seen season 3 was CERN straight away. Have you seen season 3 of Stranger Things?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think yes. So no,
the big thing in the
yeah. So
okay.
the guy at the end. I'm just going to say the guy at the end. I'm not going to say what happened to him, but the guy at the end. Okay, I did see it.
Okay,
I've seen it.
Yeah, it disappeared.
Okay, wait. Why are you going to ruin it? We were trying to not ruin it. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I've seen it.
No, but it didn't disappear. No, I'm not ruining it because there's other There's a twist. I'm not ruining it.
Watch it, guys. Stranger Things on Netflix. It's good. It's very good. Okay, but they're talking about in that show. It's about opening up portals to other dimensions, and that's where I get the term and use it all the time, the upside down, because it doesn't just apply to the alternate dimensions where these monsters end up coming out of. it seems to be more and
Yeah.
more that the world we live in, this reality is becoming more and more part of that upside down. Almost like the upside down is leaking into our reality, right? A little bit weird.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree 100%. We everything's inverted now. So good is bad, bad is good. I seriously think when they did something with CERN, was it 2011, 2012, that they did something, and we just don't know it, because obviously you wouldn't know. We're just living in some weird dimension because everything's just messed up.
Yeah, it's
Hello?
hard to. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I just don't know because these are big questions, right? You know me. I'm not the answer guy. I can kind of give you a maybe. How about a maybe? Does that work? Does a maybe?
Yeah, possibly, maybe. Have you seen the? Have you seen the ceremony at CERN? What was done with the Shiva statue outside? Like, what's that about?
Yeah, and I did see the one where they staged the thing where they were doing some sort of like
I don't think that was
ritual
staged.
sacrifice. Have you seen that one with like the knife and that it was in the dark
Yeah.
and they were wearing dark
Yeah,
robes?
yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about or something different?
It's on my channel from a while ago. Yeah, and the mainstream media came out and said it was staged. So you've got to remember that what they say is usually the opposite, isn't it? So they came out and clammed together and said, "Oh no, it was all a joke. It was all staged." So then you got to question, was it? Because I don't believe a word that they say.
Yeah, that's true.
So who knows?
That is true.
What they were doing, but. Why would you want the god of war outside bloody CERN? Have you seen the video as well where they're doing all the dancing and stuff? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that one, no.
That's on the CERN website, it's official CERN. Have you seen the OA on Netflix?
No, I have not.
Okay,
I don't watch a lot of things, unfortunately. But I'll take your word for it. So explain. Go ahead and explain what that is.
Okay, sorry. Right. Okay. So a lot of people here have probably seen the OA. It got cancelled after season 2, but they do this like dance thing, and you've got to have so many people. Can't remember how many people. It was 8. I can't remember. And you do these certain dance moves at exactly the same time, and it opens up another dimension, and you go through. And if you watch the CERN video where they're doing this dance to the music, they're doing all this really weird, exactly like the same as the OA dancing. Like they're trying to open something up. And it's actually like an official CERN video. All the scientists are doing it. Really bizarre. Like I can't see chat, but I don't know if people know what I'm talking about. But if you watch the OA and then you watch the CERN video, you will understand where I'm coming from. It's like they're doing this dance thing to sort of worshipping some sort of god. Now, the god Shiva is the god of destruction, and it's also androgynous, so it goes male to female, and that on its own outside CERN is bizarre enough as it is without all this dancing and we're not talking a bit of jigging about. We're talking proper moves. We're not talking a bit of MC Hammer.
I love the United Kingdom English. It's so amazing. Jigging about.
Do you? Jigging about. But I've got to tell you this, Mike, that next week, I don't know what day, but I'm having an interview on with someone who used to work at CERN on my channel.
Okay, fantastic. Do you know what they did at CERN?
I'm really excited. He was one of the scientists, I think, engineers, and he left and he said he doesn't care what he's going to tell me. He's one of my subscribers. He's been there for a while. He's become quite a good friend, actually, and he wants to come on and tell us what goes on there.
Interesting.
So,
okay. All right. So what day is
I'm
that?
looking forward to that.
So am I.
I don't
What day
know.
is
I've got to work a day out. I don't know yet. I don't know.
Okay. Can you please let us know? When you let me know,
I will.
drop it
I
in the
will
Discord.
tell you.
Thank you. I'll blast it out. Well, we could even stream it. We could even stream your stream.
Why don't you
spread it around?
Yeah. Let me speak to him, and maybe you could come on as well and ask some questions.
Sure. Let me know when.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it should be good. But yeah, so he said there's other. I don't know whether you're aware of this. I didn't know this, but he said there's other places like CERN that are far more interesting. They're doing more experiments and he can name them, but I can't remember what they're called. But we'll ask him. That he said they're doing like other things that are far more sinister. I don't know have you heard about these other places where they're digging these holes and stuff.
Yeah, not sure. I only know the old ones, the old conspiracy ones like Camp Hero and the Montauk Project, things like this, Philadelphia experiment. So I don't know if there's modern ones, but I'd love to hear what they
Yeah,
might
there
be.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
there is. And sorry, and just quickly, a lot of people don't realise that the internet was actually created in CERN. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I heard it was created at DARPA. I heard DARPA did it. It was like DARPANet first or something. I don't know. There's so many stories behind it. I think that's the craziest part is that it just depends on who you ask. There's probably like a dozen stories about it. I mean, Al Gore, for crying out loud, said he created the internet, right?
Yeah, well, it's on the CERN website. It's actually on the website of CERN that they created the internet.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So, I don't know. You think that would be true, but then you don't know, do you? Because we are in the upside down, It could be a Mandela effect as well, Because I always thought that it was DARPA that invented the internet, but who knows? These Mandela effects as well could be created by CERN.
Yeah, that whole CERN. We're going to do a show on CERN. We'll do it at some point where it's just nothing but CERN.
Definitely.
That 2012, that Nick Hinton thing. If you don't know, check out Nick Hinton, guys. Hinton. That's the individual who came up, as far as I'm aware, he's the guy who came up with the theory that the Mayan calendar was actually correct. And in 2012, they discovered the God particle, which is the Higgs boson, which, like Kelly was saying, is the God particle. And where they discovered that energy becomes matter in the Higgs field. So that's why they call it the God particle. And they discovered this in 2012. The same year, the apocalypse from the Mayan calendar was supposed to happen. And so they're saying that switch into this age of Aquarius or whatever it happens to be was actually part of that. And we spun off of our old timeline into a new one. And that's why things have been so wacky since 2012. That's Nick Hinton, if you're not sure who that is. I'll actually find his Twitter and dig it up. The guy, smart dude. And again, right, he's kind of into the same stuff we are, clearly. Clearly. You ever heard of Nick Hinton, Penny?
That's crazy. I haven't, no, but that is a really awesome theory. And also 2012 could be 2021. It's sort of, the Mayans could have said their calendars the other way around or something. They could have meant 2021.
Yeah, I've heard that actually. I've heard that they think that this part of this whole bit has been possibly misinterpreted too. That 2012 is some other way. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm not the answers guy. You know me.
Yeah.
You know me. If you press me, I'll just squirm.
Yeah.
I linked it in the chat. I linked it in the chat.
Awesome.
Truthorfiction.com. Nick Hinton 2012 thread. Check it out, guys. I put it in there. We'll do a show on that.
I'll be checking that out. Definitely.
Yeah. So what do you think?
But
about
I do believe
I
do believe there's a fifth dimension. Yeah, 1000%. I think there's lots of dimensions all around us, crossing all the time. I always wonder whether there are every decision that we make, does it create another one? So that we've got constant, like that movie, is it Sliding Doors, is it? I can't remember what it's called. Where she goes one way and then she goes another way and she splits the two dimensions in half. And I do wonder that whether we create lots of them. But if that was the case and we were all doing that, there'd be like infinite dimensions and stuff. But as for the fifth dimension, I believe that a lot. I think that's where the UFOs are coming from, through the portals and stuff. I don't think they're coming from outer space. Like I said to you before, I don't believe in outer space in the same way that they say it exists, like NASA. I think it's all fake. And I think it's all about interdimensionals, not about light years away and all that. Load of rubbish.
Yeah, I could definitely buy that. Just only because the sheer distance, as we know it, is ridiculous. So if they were going to be traveling, it would definitely be some sort of like super advanced interdimensional type propulsion. So yeah, I mean, and not only that, again, think about like astral travel, think about remote viewing, think about the DMT trips where people say they've crossed over into this other bizarro dimension. And, like that individual that called earlier, Beechwood, that said he just kind of like passed out, ended up in a hospital, and then he felt like he was an alien and forgot how to be a human type of thing. I mean, there's a lot.
That was mad, that was.
Yeah, nuts, right? And like people experience these things.
Call.
Yeah, we had some great calls tonight. We definitely had some great calls tonight. Like I said,
definitely.
You never imagined you do a show on the internet, end up on the digital radio station and have like amazing calls over and over and over again. Like I said, I'm just blessed. You guys are all amazing, including you, Penny. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not amazing. I keep telling you, you're the awesome.
I'll just take a bow. Thank you.
Okay, you take it. Just accept it. And yeah, we've missed you. I hate the weekends now. I used to look forward to my Friday nights, but I know you need a break. But we get you on a Thursday now anyway and a Wednesday, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
We get 3 nights straight.
I'll see if every other week or something I can add a Friday. I'm going to try and... so here's what we're going to try and do.
No, don't.
Wait. I'll tell you why. Because we're going to try and move off of all these platforms. We're going to try and move off of YouTube and Facebook and everything. Because we have to monetize ourselves and we have to make it so that we can't be censored. So I'm going to start phasing over. So I'm going to start streaming some extra shows. And if you support the show in any way, whatever, you get access to these extra shows. So I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure when we're going to do it, but we have to build it because it's like I said, it's only a matter of time before they take us down off all these platforms. They're calling us the 17th letter, these political movements. We are not a part of it all the rest of this. So we're going to have to transition. We're going to have to roll with the punches and be ahead of it. It's a shame we weren't ahead of it last year, but I think it's okay. So it's all right. So I'll try and add Fridays like every other week as some extra shows for the people that are supporters. So look forward to that, guys. It's on deck. I'm thinking about it. It's coming, and we're going to do it. We're going to try and get everybody off of all these other platforms and move them over to something that works and they can't censor us. And we can say whatever we damn well please, because that's the most important part, right?
Yeah, I do think, though, that until you actually physically get thrown off, you should keep building and still, while you're doing your own thing, still stream to YouTube, because while you're allowed, do your own thing, because that way you'll get more people, and then obviously then you can tell them, because once you stop YouTube and Facebook and whatever, then you're down to people like us, aren't you? Sort of telling people. So I would stick with YouTube for now as well. Build it ready, get it ready.
Definitely. Like I said, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know they're coming after us. And yes, and there's nothing wrong with people like you, Penny. I'm okay if we're stuck with people like you.
Crazy people. I've sent you a message on Facebook because, I don't know if you've seen it, but when you came on my show a few weeks ago, I've noticed they've put your little favourite banner underneath my show.
Are you kidding me? No.
No, I've sent you a screenshot.
Are you serious?
I've sent you a screenshot. I've never had that underneath any of my videos ever. I sent you a screenshot on Facebook. I said, look what you've done to me.
That doesn't surprise me. I've been labeled,
so
guys.
Funny.
I've been labeled. I'm not even that guy.
You've been labelled.
I'm not even that guy.
I know. I said that, you don't even.
What a joke.
Funny.
That's
yeah,
funny.
I think it's quite funny. It doesn't bother me at all, but it just tickled me.
Sometimes you can only laugh. Sometimes you can only laugh. All right. Okay.
Yeah, laugh or cry.
Yeah, totally. All
anyway,
right,
so we'll sort our show out as well. We need to get you back on.
Okay, let me know about your CERN guy.
Channel.
Let me know what's up with your CERN guy.
Definitely.
Let's see if we can be on for that. And you let me know. I'm down. I'll be on your show. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Take care, everybody, and hit the like button.
Thank you. Thank you. Number one cheerleader, Penny from the UK. Thank you so much.
Number one fan from the UK.
Number one fan from the UK. It's official.
Yeah.
Thanks, Penny.
Yeah, it's official. Right, take care, Mike.
Thanks, you too. I'll
See you
talk to
later.
Soon. All right. Have a good evening. Oh, sorry. I cut her off. There you go. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Amazing call after amazing call after amazing call. Such good people all night long. Such amazing hot takes. And some of the takes aren't even hot. They're just sober and right on point and whatever you got to do. Unbelievable. We got a little bit of time left for you if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. Thank you, Penny, for the call. Thank you, Jay, for the call. Thank you, Kelly, for the call. Thank you, Michael, for the call. Thank you, Leslie, for the call. Thank you, Where do we start? There was somebody in Canada. I didn't catch his first name, the Canadian caller. But that was fantastic. We got people calling from Canada. Looking to hear from you, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, and let's finish up. Just one more clip from this guy that's talking about... he's talking about the Tesseract and the Shadow and now Einstein and all kinds of other just bizarro, weird stuff. My pleasure's mine, Penny. Thanks for being on the show. Part 3, talking about the fifth dimension.
But let us imagine now you have a star. He looked more closely at that bending and discovered that you would see double images of this background source of light. You would have a cosmic mirage. In the same essay, which was just a page and a half, he also observed that if the source of light sits on the line of sight, so here we have the source on the line of sight, and here it is off the line of sight. When it's off the line of sight, you see two images. When it's on the line of sight, it appears formally very bright. And so bright.
Okay, this guy's putting me to sleep. All right, you guys get the deal. We're talking about, again, as always, consciousness. We're talking about all the rest of this. I'll link this if you guys want to watch the whole video. As always, I'll link my sources. I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to pull anything over on anybody and make them believe some shit that I'm making up. These are sources here. They're legitimate concerns, and that's why I bring them up. And I hope you had a good time talking about them and thinking about them. That's the most important thing here is that maybe you got away from a little bit of your reality, and we're here talking about some interesting things, including the fifth dimension and how the rest of this stuff actually kind of culminates in some of these scientific papers and some of the Department of Energy, and it's unbelievable. There's a ton of stuff here. Let's see, what else do we got? What Stuart says, Jiggy, what's up, buddy? Thanks for being here tonight. Kelly says Shiva is the god of creation and destruction. So again, like we talked about, it's more or less the Higgs boson. Oh yeah. That's a good point, Kelly. So again, Kelly, I think my favorite point of the night, even though there's so many good ones, is what Kelly's describing with the Higgs field. As energy passes through this, it becomes matter, right? This is exactly what they're saying. This is where all matter comes from. This Higgs field, which is why they call it the God particle, the Higgs boson. And so, as a result, he's saying that if it's creation and destruction, it means that both of these things, the energy has to be able to pass through one way and also the other way in some other capacity. Like, for instance, when you pass away, the energy passes somehow back through the Higgs field. So, yeah, good takes there. You and your wife, Michelle, have a fantastic conversation because that's good stuff. I hadn't heard that before. But you think about it, that's really what it's about, right? I think there's probably something to that with consciousness, and who knows. Let's see. Stuart, what's up? Thanks for being here. Larry's got the rabbit ears. What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? Stuart says, is CERN owned by little green men? Negative, sir. Nope, I'm sorry. I cannot confirm nor deny that's the case. What's up, Game Vet? Always working. It's okay. You're allowed, my man. Somebody's got to pay the bills, bro. Let's see. Stuart says, is there two Mandelas? I don't think so. I don't think that's the way it is. Mateo, what's up? Says the internet am the devil. The devil. The devil. Yeah, I see. It's code because you can't type that because they'll mark me as the 17th letter guy. Notice I haven't said that letter all night, guys. Watch, they're gonna put a disclaimer on YouTube after this about how I'm like a political dissident asshole. You'll see. Let's see. What else do we got? Good chat, guys. Good chat. Beechwood says, yeah, we're going to go toe-to-toe with Zuck. He probably has his assassins on the way. Hey. No, he didn't say assassins. He said assassins. I think we're talking in code here. Yeah, no. Let's see. Brian says, Penny is pennies from heaven. Yes, I agree. Very nice. Very nice young lady Penny is. All right, so we got one more call coming. We'll take this, and then we'll finish this up. Just kind of kicking it, talking about the fifth dimension, talking about consciousness, talking about CERN, and what all this means to you. Do you think it's a bunch of BS, or do you think that we're here doing our thing, spinning our wheels, and falling for clickbait? I think that's the biggest thing that that's my biggest concern, is that we're falling for clickbait. Like I said, at the very least, hopefully you were entertained and you got to leave your own drudging reality for a while. I hope that's not the case for many of you, or most of you, or all of you. but it's the way life is sometimes, right? You end up in the same routine day after day, and so we need to let our minds wander from time to time. So that's what we do on this show. Definitely what we do on this show. Let's take this phone call, and we'll finish up. All right, you did I click it? Click the button. Come on, Mike, click the button. There we go. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike, this is Game Vet 02.
Game Vet, what's up, my man? How are you?
Hey, good. Finally, I got to stop. You want the wow factor right now?
Shoot,
you guys
man.
want to hear it?
I want to hear it.
Okay, so, all right, so you guys all know I drive the semi down in Wisconsin and all that stuff. I do believe in there are alternate realities and all that stuff, just simply because of one night I was driving through Wisconsin. I'll try to make this short. I actually heard, the metal grinding sounds like metal was being rubbed against each other, and it sounded like a 10-foot or at least 10 to 20-foot, like a circular saw sound, right? So you had you've heard about the trumpets and all that stuff that's heard all around the world and all that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this was like the metal grinding sound and all that, and it had the high-pitched circular sound noise. This was driving along 94, heading west in Wisconsin there. So there was a lot of people that reported this as well. I had my window halfway down driving the semi, and this noise, it was louder than the semi, and with passing traffic on the opposite side of the road and, trucks passing me and everything. So after this happened, a week later, in the same area where I heard this sound, there was actually a creature in the ditch. And I don't know if the sound is making the animals run out, because when the sound was going on, there was all sorts of dead animals all over, scattered along the highway, and there was just blood everywhere. I have it somewhere. I have it the footage on dash cam, but the whole highway was just covered in blood. I mean, there was so many animals and all that stuff, and so what I'm thinking is, for some odd reason, whatever this creature was, I think that's wherever these things are from, that's how they feed. They scare the animals out, and then they pick up the carcasses and all that stuff. But I can tell you, this creature that I saw, honestly, I've never seen anything in my life before like it. It, honestly, it looked like it was basically like a giant phallus-looking thing. It had an octagon red eye, kind of like that monster on Monsters, or Monsters Inc. or whatever, how it had the one eye, in the center, like a Cyclops. But this was like a red octagon, what do you call it?
Like octagonal.
Yeah, the octagon eye. And I don't know, it was just like standing in the ditch. I didn't see any arms, no mouth, but it was sitting in the ditch, and I swear to God, it was over 6 feet tall. And I don't know. It's something crazy. For some reason, lately I've been seeing a lot of stuff, and it's just unexplained. Like 2 years prior to seeing that, I saw this other creature. People might laugh or whatever, but there was this other creature. It looked like a little 3 foot tall kangaroo, and it had short hair, but its face looked just like the old TV show Alf's face. You remember that TV show with Alf? And he says, "Oh, Willie," and he was trying to capture the cat or whatever all the time. And
the furry alien.
Yeah. Right. Well, his face looked exactly like that, only the eyes were spread out further, like they were almost on the side of the head. But they had the same snout. It was the same color brown. They had the kind of darkish lines on the snout. but the thing was like 3 feet tall. And then when it was initially I was going down an exit ramp to get back to merge on the highway to get back to Minnesota, and it was standing on the line on the left side, like exactly on the line. It was facing to my right, so I could see the side of this thing. And then all of a sudden it darted from the side, the line right there to the middle of the road, and it turned like facing, the same way I'm facing. So when it turned that way, it almost looked like a thin black little line. You could barely see it. It almost looked like the size of maybe just a little bit thicker than a credit card. You could barely see this thing. And all of a sudden it turned sideways again just before, I was coming right up on it. All of a sudden, I swear to God, it disappeared. And then it was instantly right on the shoulder there. Reappeared again. It was turned sideways so I could see it. And then as I was passing the dang thing, it turned to me and it looked like it hissed. Its mouth was open and it had that look like it was pissed.
Holy smokes. That sounds like Dogman.
And then,
I'm sure you've heard the Dogman legends, right?
Yeah, well, it wasn't though, but it had to be like 2.5 to 3 feet tall. It was really tiny. But then as I passed it, it was still facing to the right, and as I was passing it, it turned into this little black line again.
Whoa,
just the craziest stuff I've ever seen in my life.
And you got footage of this stuff on a dash cam?
No, it did not appear on it at all.
Holy smokes! Holy smokes!
And last summer there was a gray wolf on the side of the road. Somebody hit it with the car, but it had these glowing red eyes. I'm like, oh my God! The thing, it was laying on the side of the shoulder, right? Like, that thing is huge. And then as I was passing, I'm like, look at those red eyes. Oh my God, because the red eyes were actually lighting up the ground, okay? So then the next day I'd go by it again, but it wasn't in the same spot. It was like down a half a mile. Like, okay, that's kind of weird. So then I'd go past it, because I do this route 5 days a week, okay? So then every day, this dead wolf that was laying on the side of the road with these glowing red eyes, it would be in a different location each day I was driving down the same road. And then actually, after a couple of weeks, it would disappear for a couple of days and then show up back in the original spot where I first originally saw it. Now, I'm not losing my mind, but every time I would see this thing, the eyes would stay glowing red.
Almost like it was watching you, right? Like it was trying to find you even.
Right.
That's weird, man.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And that was, yeah.
So,
I was debating whether or not to stop and get a picture of this thing because I've never seen anything. The eyes look like they were as bright as like taillights on a car, when you hit the brakes. But it wouldn't explain why 3 weeks they would still stay glowing if this thing were on the side of the road dead.
Yeah, exactly. And after that block of time, you haven't seen this thing since?
No, I haven't seen it since. But if I do, I'm tempted to take a photo of it. And I've had people say, no, don't get out of the truck. Don't, this thing was huge. The fangs alone were just probably as long as my hand, if not just a little bit, shorter. But it was ridiculous. It was huge.
Yeah, well, in some highways, it's not a simple thing to just pull a truck over either. So,
right.
There's also that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
I do believe in this alternate reality stuff, and I've called in about that C-shaped craft I saw, and my wife and I both witnessed it, and it just, as the lights turned down, it just disappeared right in front of our eyes, and it's like, where did it go? It's either sitting right there still, we can't see it, or it jumped out of our reality into a different one.
Yeah. Or at the very least, if we're just being like kind of obtuse about it, like at least cloaking technology, right? Something like this. Unbelievable, man.
Right.
You're not the only one either. Like
Yeah.
there's people reporting this stuff all over the country too. So I've got some UFO videos I'm going to put up on the YouTube page, and there's people reporting stuff like this, man. Like I saw a triangle, like a huge triangle in the damn sky. The thing was huge. It was like the Phoenix Lights. They just reported it, and it's on like it's right there on video. Right there on video. Thing is damn huge. It's like the size of an aircraft carrier. This thing is gigantic, moving slowly and silently in the sky. It's crazy. This stuff is happening, man.
No, I believe it, because even driving to work today, I saw one little bitty cloud, and I swear to God, I saw a chevron shape. It was either a cloud or a chevron, one of the two. But there was 3 planes next to it, and it was just sitting there, just sitting there in the sky like it was nothing. And I don't know, it had to have been right over the airport or real close to the airport. But I mean, the planes looked tiny compared to this thing, whatever it was. It was either just, there's no clouds in the sky except this one that you could see through, and this chevron shape, which was totally, sharp edges. And it was sitting there. So
They're out
how do
there,
you explain this stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. There's something going on that people aren't telling us. That's for sure. That's for sure. Hey, everybody, follow. This is GameVet02 on YouTube. I've linked him to our YouTube page. Go just scroll to the bottom of the Troubled Minds YouTube page. He's right there on the bottom. Go check out his UFO videos. He's got some compelling stuff you will not see anywhere else, and I promise you, there's some stuff there that will make you wonder. Will make you wonder about your reality. And my friend, thank you so much for calling. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it as always.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it. You're the man.
Pleasure's mine.
And then I plan on, anytime I get more footage, I plan on posting it, as soon as I get it. So thank you, Mike. I'm sorry to take your time, but, I want to get the word out here. And it's, something's going on, and I'm trying my hardest to get it out to show everybody,
You're in the right place, man.
It's my goal in life.
No need to apologize. You're in the right place, and this is exactly what this is for, to talk to people just like you. So no sweat. Thank you so much for sharing, man. Have a great night, okay? We'll talk to you soon. Be safe out there.
All right. You too.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. You too. There you go. GameVet02. Follow him on YouTube, guys. Check him out. He's got he's a truck driver. He's out there with a webcam, or not a webcam. I always say webcam. He's got a dash cam on, and he's getting footage of UFOs that he sees frequently, right? You heard what he said about some of the things he's seen, and some of the different critters or things or whatever they might be. You heard him in his own words describe these things. Go check out his website his YouTube, and you will see. We actually pulled one up on the show one time and looked at it, and it was like, drop your jaw. WTF is that? There's good stuff on that page, and I'm telling you, there's good stuff out there. Keep looking at the sky, guys. Keep your cameras ready. Get ready to get this stuff, because it's out there. This stuff exists. Whether it's aliens or whether it's ours or whether it's some combination or some interdimensional this or that or the other, whether it's all disinformation and clickbait BS, whatever you want to believe, I don't care. You believe it. We're not trying to tell you what it is. I'm telling you, though, they are out there in the sky. Keep your eyes to the sky. Definitely good stuff. Here, I'm going to type it. GameVet02. GameVet02. Typing it. There you go. Search that on YouTube, and you will find this guy's channel. I'm going to put it in the other chat as well. GameVet02. And there you go. We're done. I actually, like I said, I started out a little shaky tonight, thinking that we weren't going to. I was going to be sketchy, but you guys saved me. All the great calls tonight saved me. Larry says there's actually a book called Weird Wisconsin. Is that right in that neck of the woods? Yeah. I don't know. Again, so we'll be back tomorrow. Ash is going to be on the show tomorrow. We've got some stuff picked out. We're going to talk about more weird stuff. Interestingly, what GameVet02, the last caller there, was talking about some odd creatures he saw on the side of the road. Okay, and not just once, multiple times, and multiple areas, and he saw these things. And so tomorrow, stay tuned, because we're going to be talking about some more of this type of stuff, and exactly maybe, again, right? So some of it's going to be clickbait, some of it's going to be good CGI, but some of it is going to be things people see with their own damn eyes. And so if you've got stories about maybe monsters or critters or anything like this, we're going to call it just the boogeyman. Let's just call it the boogeyman. Shadow people, you name it, that's what's on deck tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So hang tight. We're going to be here with Ash at 7, and that's what we're going to be talking about. But before that, of course, we got 3 p.m. Conspiracy News with Michael Strange. We'll see you then. You guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out as we click the outro music. And I go grab something to eat. Let's see. How about this music right here? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Beechwood, if you want to call again, tomorrow you're welcome, my friend. We're done for tonight. Call us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be open lines just like before. As always, this is the whole point of a show like this, guys. Look, if you literally take the information from the media, they're lying to you. They're straight up lying to you. Okay? You can tell. Watch my Conspiracy News, and I'm telling you, there's proof every damn day they're lying to us. Every damn day. All right? So the reason why we do this show live is to include you. That's the whole reason. We can skip the media. You don't have to report your shit to MUFON. You call up and you say, look, people, this is what I saw. There's value there. Nobody trying to spin the story. It's your own words. No MUFON representative typing it up and editing this and doing that. That's what the show's about. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Like I said, like I always say, you could be doing a million things tonight, but you were here with us. Makes it fun, makes it easy, makes it entertaining, and it makes it educating. Thank you for listening. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Madeeb, Michael, I see you guys there. Michael, Joshua, I see you guys in chat. I didn't say hello. Say hello. William says, oh yeah! He's like the Kool-Aid guy busting through the wall. Oh yeah! Yeah, Beechwood, I'll talk to you tomorrow, my friend. Give us a call. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific on Conspiracy News, 7 p.m. Pacific, Troubled Minds. Have a great night.